Tucked away inside your nearest Sega Dreamcast, set up in the console's random access memory, there's a bar. A safe haven for guests and information to roam in, share a bit of their time, and go about their way. Welcome to Ram on the Rocks. And welcome back. Outside of that grouchy green old man Nick, this is the first time I've had a recurring guest. Do you mind reintroducing yourself for the audience?
Hey, what's going on, man? Yeah, I'm Dr. Lava. I've been writing Did You Know Gaming videos, most of them for the past 6 years or so. And we got to know each other because I watched your Return of Samus Game Boy review, I guess it was like 4 years ago. And I really liked it. And I asked you to voice a Metroid Did You Know Gaming video. And as I recall, you did I think you did all the writing, actually, which is unusual.
Not quite. I did maybe 80%, but you did you made the script good. You took the draft essentially and cleaned it up into something presentable.
I probably just put a lot of contractions in there. I just cut down the number of words with a lot of contractions. But usually I write things and then other people just read them. Yeah, I think because I remember that it was about that game book, Zebes Invasion Order, wasn't it called?
That is correct, yeah.
And you played it, and so you wrote it, which is, like I said, unusual. Hardly ever does the voice of the narrator actually write it, but you did, and it was great. And we've kept in touch, and I was on here, I think it was maybe 9 months ago or so. And but yeah, that's who I am. I'm the guy who writes Did You Know Gaming videos these days.
Yeah. I've got to say too, honestly, that opportunity, because Did You Know Gaming is something that I've watched, I suppose for longer than you've been involved in it. But that was something that I'd always been familiar with, and being able to be a part of something that y'all put together was, it meant a lot. It was very, very exciting.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I can't, I can't take credit for Did You Know Gaming's notoriety at all. I've only been doing it 6 years. They've been around for, I think, 14. And if anything, it's really fallen apart under my tenure.
Oh, no.
So I can't, occasionally people will be like, wow, you work for that legendary channel. It's like, well, yeah, but really I've sort of been and more involved with its downfall than any reason that you would have heard about it. Well, I haven't really watched it quite a few years, actually. It's like, well, then you, that makes sense. Yeah, your viewership is way down under my stewardship. So, but yeah, it's a good job. I don't mean to slag it off. I enjoy my job. I really appreciate Shane Gill, my boss, and I'm just trying to be a little bit, not take credit. I'm trying not to take credit for what others built, and I just happen to be standing on top of at the moment.
Also, don't assign too much blame. It's a super fluid market. Things are all over the place, and sometimes the numbers just ain't nice. You know how the trends on YouTube are. They shift around all the dang time.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on over there. So I would like to shirk all responsibility, as I do in all opportunities in life. But I suspect maybe a little bit my fault. But anyway, we don't need to talk about that. That's not what we're here to talk about. So should we do more preamble? You want to get right into it?
Well, I thought, you were the one that had brought up the topic that we would be digging into today. I thought it was a good idea, especially since the last time that we talked, we were talking a lot about the Switch 2 as it was coming out. I don't think it had quite come out yet, had it?
I haven't checked. I want to say we talked a month before launch or something like that.
Yeah.
It was after it was revealed, and there'd been the controversy kind of calm and mostly gone at that point, or at least the initial heat of the people drop the price in the treehouse chats and that kind of stuff. At least that level of vitriol had blown over. There's still a lot of haters out there, and it just so happens that I'm one of them. Which is and I guess I'll introduce the topic since it was my idea, which was that I'm basically a lifelong, I guess call a spade, a Nintendo fanboy. 37 years old. I grew up with an NES and then a Super Nintendo, an N64, and basically everything except the Wii U. I would have got that except I was living in rural China at the time, so it's not like I just thought the Wii U sucked. It was just like I didn't have a TV, I didn't have a phone, I didn't have any game consoles at the time. But otherwise, I've had every Nintendo handheld and system. I had a few, like I had a Sega Genesis, had a PS1 and 2, and a 360. So I'm not a pureblood. But for the most part, I've been mostly 80% a Nintendo guy for the past, since I was, a kid in the early 90s. But I was one of the folks who, when the prices dropped after that initial Switch 2 Direct on April 2nd, I was one of the people who were, just kind of like, can I swear? I forget.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. Oh, yeah.
Okay, I was one of the people that were like, what the fuck? $80 Mario Kart and, $80, last gen ports with the Switch 2 editions and $450 console. That's not as much of a sticking point, but just the whole thing was like prices were going up 50% across the board, because I was getting games with the Nintendo game vouchers. So I was getting, the brand new first party games for $50, and now they're 70 or 80. It's a 50% jump.
Yeah.
I got the Switch one for $300. Now it's $450. So it's just like pretty much across the board, a 50% price hike. And, I wasn't keen on it. And I think when we'd spoken and you were like annoyed, maybe perturbed at the price hikes, but you were still going to get a Switch 2, and that's fine. As I said last time, I'm not a zealot. I'm not someone who's going to say, you're part of the problem, Wayne. And as long as people like you keep shilling and bending over, then Nintendo's going to keep getting away with, you have fun with it. I don't mean to sound condescending or vitriolic, whatever. It's fine. I was turned off by the whole situation. I think probably everyone's heard that sort of point of view before. I don't need to explain probably more than I have already, my position. We've all heard the same things over and over. I won't repeat it. But I thought it would be interesting if we talked. What does a Nintendo fanboy do when they refuse to play Nintendo for about a year? I guess 9 months. And then I also want to check in with you as someone who has gotten the Switch 2 and see how you're feeling about it now that we're, 9 months in. And it's just sort of a vibe check? Is that what the kids are saying these days? To see where we're both at. Because we're kind of on different sides of the aisle. We're opposing parties in this war of fanboys.
See, I would like to think of it as we just have different perspectives on the issue, especially as time's passed, and now we've got different takes as we've been kind of in different ends and been able to just kind of see where the Switch 2 has led as a system, both as somebody that has one and somebody that hasn't. I also think it's worth noting, I'm pretty sure the Switch 2 performed fairly well in terms of sales. But to my knowledge, and I think I remember seeing something about this just maybe a couple of weeks ago, their stocks, the stock value for Nintendo is not doing particularly well. And that's taken a bit of a hit, so there's sort of a financial consequence to some decision making that they've had. The company is now under new leadership. A lot has changed since we last talked. It's actually probably the best possible time to kind of touch base on just sort of the state of Nintendo and how things have developed since the launch of the console.
I should say, before we go any further, is that I've established myself as a born-again hater. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a zealot or an ideologue. Basically, I just want them to kind of come down on the prices. Can you do some sort of discounts on the last gens? You can get PS4 games for $20 or $40 on PS5. They're not bringing back PS4, last gen games for $80. Like, can you? Like, it used to be Nintendo was like the less expensive option. Now they're more expensive. It's like, well, can you at least like match Sony with their kind of pricing and
yeah, especially when it comes to like outdated hardware, like with the Switch 1. I know that they said they were keeping that in production and availability largely because they knew that a lot of people would be priced out of the Switch 2. And I can understand the price tag of the Switch 2 to a degree. We're talking about like a handheld console that's more or less on the level of like what the Steam Deck is doing, and I think it's priced fairly competitively. Unfortunately, like over the next year, we might even see a price hike, if only because, outside shenanigans and everything are just making those parts harder to get right now.
yeah.
Can't wait for that stupid. I don't know if it's even fair to call it a bubble at this point, but I want to see that stupid AI generated crap burn. But but my thing too is just like you look back like the Wii or the Wii U era. Remember Nintendo Selects?
I do.
Yeah, dropped down like a like really high selling games to like $20. That's how it got to Twilight Princess on the Wii back in the day.
Right.
Animal Crossing was on that. Now we're getting a like $60, $70 re-release of Animal Crossing with an update. Like it's stuff like that where I'm like, okay, we could go back and take a look at some like Switch 1 games that did especially well. And sold a lot of units as we're trying to get people interested and involved in everything. Especially, okay, so here's an example. Donkey Kong Country Returns HD just got an update.
That's a really good example.
Yeah, that one just got an update yesterday. Where it's just like, oh, you can play as Dixie Kong now. Hey, here's some updated features for like the Switch 2 and everything. But it's also like you're still paying like, what is it, $60? Were they charging $60 for that?
Unless this has gone up. I didn't hear about that update from yesterday, but yeah, when it was announced, a year ago or something, it was a $60 Switch 1 game.
Yeah.
As a remaster of the I think 2010 Wii game.
Yeah.
So unless they're making a Switch 2 edition of that Switch 1 remaster of a Wii game, I don't think they are. But yeah, it's 60. It came out for $60 on Switch 1. And that's the kind of thing. It's like, come on, come on, like a 15, 16-year-old side scroller. It's a good game, sure, but I mean, like, come on, this is old. This is not, like, I kind of understand the Mario Galaxy thing. In fact, I was surprised sort of at the backlash, because it's like we just got DKC Returns for $60, and then here Nintendo comes with Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 together for $70, and people made a much bigger stink of it. Maybe it's because people actually wanted Mario. People weren't too bent out of shape about Donkey Kong Returns because they didn't really want that game.
It could have also just been that it was both of them back to back. It's like it's one thing when it happens the one time, but when you start seeing a trend, then there's going to be a big pushback.
Oh, maybe, because, we had Skyward Sword HD, which was also a Wii remaster that came out at $60. Of course, we had all the Wii U deluxe editions and so forth, with new Funky Kong modes that were $60. But yeah, especially when they start going back to like Wii games.
Yeah.
Thousand Year Door was that's a remake of the GameCube game, but it didn't seem that different. I didn't buy it, I should say. But it's just sort of like everything is $60. Like Princess Peach Showtime, apparently it's something like a 6-hour game, like $60. Like
I will say, just
everything is $60, and now it's like $70 is the standard. It's like Mario Tennis for $70, like Mario Party Jamboree plus Jamboree TV Switch 2 edition plus Jamboree TV. For $80, like, come on, like, guys.
I will say there are some good things to like. Okay, so Paper Mario is a good example. Just as somebody that has like front row seats to the resale market, maybe it comes off a little weird just seeing like that getting re-released at like $60, but then also the original GameCube versions went down from like 150 plus down to like probably close to 40, between $40 and $60 like for themselves, so you could actually like feasibly go back and get the originals if you wanted. Like there was a sort of ripple effect there that I was happy to see.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, not intentional on Nintendo's part, I can guarantee that.
Yeah.
One of my things is I'm like, okay, so Donkey Kong just got that update, and it's cool because, like, oh, it has, like, better performance on Switch 2 and everything like that. We also saw that with the remake of Link's Awakening. There were a couple of other games where they were like, hey, here are these, like, free little patches for these games. Now they just operate better on Switch. Take some of those games, re-release Link's Awakening remake for $20. Like at that point, like it's not like you're going full throttle on like a Switch 2 edition. For me, that's from a marketing standpoint is just like I'm sure you're familiar with the old phrase like, you know, give them the razor, sell them the blades. Give them like a good supply of blades. Give them a reason to go back and go grab those. Like if you missed that Link's Awakening or something, like now you can get it cheaper and there's even more reason to buy it. You know what I mean? But they're not doing that.
Yeah, and even like, you know, I'm willing to get like, I don't expect like really anything from them to ever be $20 ever again. And like, I would expect 40 might be the new 20, which I like. Again, like I'm not like a huge like ideal like I want $20. It's like I understand you're not gonna do 20, like it's 20, 26 or whatever, and like
that
can
also,
you do 30? Could you do 4? Can Switch 1 games or at least like a selection, a Nintendo Selects collection or whatever?
And that could
can
also
those go to 40? Games from 8 years ago, can they be 4? Like I understand maybe not 20.
And that could also be like a consequence of just the industry as a whole. Like the whole industry has just shifted upwards in price. Very rarely, I think, are we going to see any company price a game down to like $20. Every once in a while, something will come out and surprise me. I was shocked to see that new, that Capcom game, Pragmata. I think that game's like 50, 60, not 70, like I was expecting. So it's just like, I think we're kind of reaching a point where a lot of companies are just being like, there's not a lot of incentive for pricing that high because people aren't buying them at that price.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I kind of cut you off there, but.
Oh no, I was stirring some coffee. I didn't know you stopped as I was stirring, and it was making that ding da ding da ding sound.
Oh, you're good. I didn't know if you were.
I should mention I'm sitting outside and it's about 30 degrees, so I'm drinking coffee while I'm talking to you.
Oh, hell yeah.
But yeah. So it's like even like I understand like they got to get their bag on the front end or whatever, and so I'm like I'm not even that. The main sticking point isn't so much even the new. I do think $80 is a bridge too far. But honestly, what bothers me more is the old games for still being 60, or you know, like the Switch 2 editions being 80 and all that. Like, because I'm someone who will go back and happily play older games. You know, all the way back to the NES.
Yeah.
I'm not going back to play Atari games, but I'll go back and play old games, and that means last generation. So like when it's like games like Wii U launch titles from 2012 are still $60, it's like, come on guys, come on. New Super Mario Brothers U is still $60. Like if because there's some of these games I'd like to go back and get that for one reason or other I didn't at the time. And I'm like, I'd like actually I never did play Donkey Kong Returns. I had Tropical Freeze. I'm like, let's get that. But for $60, like,
yeah,
it's just a turnoff to the whole sort of ecosystem. Along with, like, I was complaining about things going up 50%, and the price of the old games is just sort of like it's like an easily overlooked aspect of this. Like, it's not just like things are going up in price; things are like staying. Anyway, people have talked about this. We're rehashing Nintending versus Nintendo Prime talking points or whatever we're doing. I guess we don't need to do that. So, all right. Well, why don't you go first because you're the one who does have a Switch too. How are you feeling at this point? Just in general, whatever aspect you feel like talking about?
I guess it's the sort of thing where I usually gauge it based off of like, okay, how much time have I spent on it since I've gotten it, right? You know, that sort of thing. I feel like that's the best gauge. And I'm gonna be honest, like my Switch usage has gone up a lot since I got the 2. And a lot of it too is like there are certain games I have gone back to that like I enjoyed fine on the Switch, but now on the Switch 2 it's just like, oh man, this is like such a better way to play this. Like Bomb Rush Cyberpunk was the first game that I played on my Switch 2.
Oh, nice. You know, I didn't play that. How was that?
Oh, well, that game's phenomenal. I already love that game to death, but like on the Switch version, the original one, it ran at a capped like 30 FPS, but there was a mode you could turn on where it would uncap the frame rate and then it would just kind of like go all over the place. Switch 2 version, you switch onto that mode and it's steady 60 consistently. And it feels phenomenal to play, like even handheld. So I love that aspect of it a lot. Like I'd say from a like in terms of like build and comfortability, I've got big hands, so having this nice big handheld is like super helpful. I've come to really enjoy like even the way that the Joy-Cons like pop off the sides of the system. It feels so much nicer than the sliding mechanic. But then it's also just being able to like, man, it's wild to me having something like Cyberpunk and being able to like play that on the TV and then just like take that on the go. Like it's kind of like there was an asterisk over the original Switch where it was just like, oh, you have all these games that like, you know, they come out and like Doom Eternal is on the Switch. You know, it you know, looks like it was rendered on a PS3, but like it plays. And this is like the version of the Switch with that asterisk gone. And it just, I don't know, it's wild to see like how much it feels like the hardware stepped up. And that's kind of where I'm at with the price that I paid for it feeling justified, because I feel like I'm getting a return on that investment. Even on
you feel like you're sorry, do you feel like you're getting your money's worth not just on the hardware but the software? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, even on software that I originally had for the original Switch, I just enjoy more on the Switch too. Not always. Not all of it has gotten a buff. Not everything has gotten like you know, some sort of like upgrade when playing on the new device. But enough of it is, and enough games that I personally care about, and it's been cool. And then I'll even say like features like having the mouse controls and stuff like that like is honestly super cool. I tried that a bit with like Metroid Prime 4. I tried it with Cyberpunk, and it's just like I'm not used to using mouse and keyboard for like shooters. I'm more of a controller guy. But it was like, it's cool to have that feature. It was especially fun getting to use that on like Mario Paint when they added that to the Switch like online service. I don't know. I'm pretty happy with it. I think the only thing for me, or like the main thing, is just that it's like the major releases have been a little bit of a mixed bag, at least if we're talking about like what's come from Nintendo. As of the recording of this episode, I think tomorrow we're seeing the launch of Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade for the Switch 2. It is on a game key card, but it's like one of the only... It's like the second circumstance I've seen where like the game key card feels fully justified, where that's a 90 gigabyte game. It's not gonna fit on that cartridge. And it's also $40 for a pretty sizey game that I already really like. And I'm a little tempted to double dip. I tried out the demo and I was just like, this is phenomenal that this runs as well as it does on this handheld here. It's like 30 FPS, but it's like 1080p docked-or handheld, and it's crazy. But then I look at like, okay, I really enjoyed Donkey Kong Bonanza. It's like one of my favorite Donkey Kong games I played in years, and I loved like so much of that playthrough. The last couple of hours of it are insane, and it felt like a real love letter. And then a couple weeks later, they released the like $20 DLC where it's just like you get like a little bit of it's a third the cost of the base game. A third. $20 for you get a little island to kind of run around in, and then there's this extra challenge mode. And I've seen people say it's like the Luigi mode from like Mario Odyssey, but like now there's a $20 price tag behind it, and that's I agree with that assessment. So it's just like really took the wind out of my sails for like how much I loved that game to be immediately be met with that. And then it's like I haven't touched Mario Kart World since June, and I already bought that game pre-owned because I was not spending $80 on a kart racer, and I'm glad I didn't. I enjoy the game just fine. I think it's a phenomenal, masterfully crafted, incredible soundtrack with a pretty good kart racer behind it.
I've heard some of the soundtrack. It is fantastic. That sorry to cut in, but that Jolly Roger Bay, the Dire Dawn track was amazing. I heard a few others that were just like, wow, like, because I'm willing to say something. I'm a hater, but I'm willing to give credit where it's due.
Oh yeah.
And wow, fantastic soundtrack. I listened to it, on YouTube, of course, and really good.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. No, the soundtrack to that game is the best part about it. It's got aspects I really enjoy. I'm gonna say right now, hands down, best version of Rainbow Road they've ever made. It's great. It felt like an event, like every time I've run through it. But it's just like I'm maybe a bad point of comparison because I don't go back to replay kart racers a lot anyway. But again, like being with my friends at Too Many Games in like June of last year was the last time I put that cartridge in my system. And then oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, when was Too Many Games?
That was June.
Okay, the month it came out. Okay.
Yeah, yes. And then it's like, shoot, what else came out? Well, damn it, I guess we gotta address it.
Metroid Prime 4.
Metroid Prime 4.
Hyrule Warrior, although that was made by Koei, but Koei-Tecmo, but there's been quite a few games,
Yeah.
There have been quite a few games. I'm not gonna deny that for sure.
Metroid Prime 4 was kind of the one where, for me, it was like, that is a whole discussion where, and we were talking about this a little bit beforehand. I don't want to spend too much time on that because I've kind of accidentally gone on Metroid Prime 4 rants like the past 4 or 5 episodes of this show. I think it's, I keep telling people it's the other M of Metroid Prime, and I mean that in the sense that it's an okay game with some really glaring and confusing issues that didn't really need to be there. And it's just like the absence of those features would make the game better, so it just makes it more frustrating. Although at least we do have a little bit of context behind that particular game, and we do know now after a developer interview that after things fell through with Bandai Namco, Nintendo seemed to be a lot more hands-on, and we're making some choices for retro. Like the desert was not a retro decision. That was Nintendo. I think they got scared after things fell through with Bamco, and they were too afraid to like let go of the project at that point. And that corporate meddling led to a lesser product. And, but then it's just like, that's like from a content kind of angle, and especially just coming at it as a Metroid fan. If we're looking at it from a technical level, Jesus Christ, it's a marvel. Like 4K 60 FPS. Like most PS5 games don't do that. And it runs incredibly smoothly. Having a game on the Switch 2 that I can play at 120 FPS and for it to play as well as it does If we're just talking like as a showcase of what the console's capable of, it's incredible. It's one of the best cases out there. And then, there's the rest of it. And then there's Kirby Air Riders, and Kirby Air Riders is damn near perfect.
Yeah, you were the first... Because, like the desert, the famous desert trailer dropped, where everyone was like, what the hell's with the big empty desert?
Yeah.
Before launch. You're the one person I reached out to, and I was like, what do you think? What do you think about all this? And, we talked about it, and then after it came out and it was getting, like 8 out of 10, I guess with Metacritic, it's like an 8 out of 10. And I was like, have you played it? What do you think? And, cause I'm seeing the shills and the haters on Twitter and on YouTube, and like, I don't really know who to believe. I haven't played it. So,
yeah.
And I'm not buying games with my Switch One either. Like I said, I'm a hater.
And that's fine. Yeah.
And I'm playing it up a little bit. You're a shill. I'm a hater.
Yeah.
This is Crossfire is what we're doing here. But yeah, ask you, what do you think? And you had your thoughts. I guess you've shared them a lot. We don't have to go over them again on this channel. But yeah, you're the one person I reached out to. Like, what is your actual opinion? It's like not someone trying to clickbait or whatever. Like just you and me talking. And yeah, I was a bit disappointed because I've long been a retro fan. I think we talked about this last time, but for anyone who maybe didn't hear, like, I made many retro videos on Digital Gaming. I did a long documentary about their whole history. I got some documents. I uncovered Heroes of Hyrule, and Nintendo struck us down. We had to get a lawyer to get it back. And some other projects of theirs that hadn't been seen before. So I'm a big retro fan, although most of those people are not there anymore. And so I'm not really sure how much confidence I should still have in them. I don't mean to sound like an asshole, but I think you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's just pragmatic.
I want to believe in them, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. And I'm like, there are definitely some like important like retro alumni that did work on the original. They're still there, but it's not the majority of who's there anymore. So I think that there's something to that. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with kind of feeling that dissonance.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm mostly familiar with the people who worked on the first game, and as far as I know, none of them are still there. I think I did see that some people from the third game,
oh, that might be what I'm thinking
maybe
of,
the second, are still worked on 4, but I didn't recognize the names. Not to, disrespect those guys. I'm just saying I'm more familiar with the guys from the first game, personally.
Yeah.
And so just with them not being there anymore, I just kind of didn't know what to think, and then it came out to the way that it came out. And my impression from the outside looking in, again, I don't have a Switch 2, and so, my opinion is worth not very much. But just from what I've seen, it seems like, except for maybe like DK Bonanza, like pretty much all the Nintendo developed and published games so far have all kind of been like 8 out of 10s, which is good. And especially if you already like a franchise or you like a particular genre, like an 8 out of 10 can feel like a 9.5. If you're already predisposed to like something. And I don't mean that as an insult to anybody. I'm saying like an 8 out of 10 can be great. But if you're someone who's not like already a Metroid fan or already a Kirby fan or a racing fan or whatever, it's like, it's like they haven't really had their like breath, people have said this, I'm just repeating stuff, but they haven't really had their Breath of the Wild or something else like really just kind of impressive, really, except for maybe DK Bonanza, I don't know. So they put out quite a few good games, but they do seem to be pretty much all be 8 out of 10s, which I guess I should get into a little bit like sort of, what I've been playing.
Yeah, by all means.
So a lot of what I've been playing are like old classics, I guess you could say, stuff that I missed out on and now I'm going back and playing, which are now dirt cheap, and they were 9 or 10 out of 10s, 10, 20, maybe 40 years ago. But I never played them, or some of them I'm replaying. But I could get them for dirt cheap, and I'm perfectly happy playing those. And to be honest, I'm not like hurting that I haven't been able to play Metroid Prime 4 or Kirby Air Riders and the other kind of new games. Like I've been quite happy. So initially, I already had a Steam Deck, and I got it a few years ago when I was wanting to play like the Resident Evil remake games, and they were never going to come to Switch. And I had a hankering, so I got the cheap one, which is really stupid. I got the 64 gigabyte model, the cheapest Steam Deck.
Yeah.
And it arrived, and because I've been, like I said, I'm a Nintendo baby. Like, I'm used to kind of how it works in Nintendo, and it was like, like your Switch came out, I think, with 32 gigabytes. And prior to that, I didn't have, but Wii U was 4 gigabytes, and the deluxe model was 32. And so, like, the cheapest Steam model was 64 gigabytes. And, I've been working on this 32 gig Switch for a long time. I was like, 64, that's fine. I can get a few games, and, like, I don't mind deleting things and re-downloading them or whatever to make space. It's no big deal. So I bought it, and it arrived. I bought Resident Evil 2 Remake. It wouldn't even fit. It was bigger than 64 gigabytes. Because we're not on Switch anymore. The games are bigger than 10 gigabytes.
Optimization is also a lost art.
But anyway, so I ended up getting back into playing Steam Deck because when I was really annoyed with this whole Nintendo price situation, I saw a bunch of games on my wish list were on sale. So I got Resident Evil 4 Remake, which is only 2 years old. Dead Space Remake, which is also only 2 years old. Let's see, Grand Theft Auto 4, Alan Wake, A Short Hike, a couple games. There were 7 games. I got all of them for $55.
Nice.
And I was like, man, like, I couldn't even get New Super Mario Brothers U for $55. I just got, 7 games I'm really looking forward to playing for $55. That really kind of stuck in my craw. So that got me playing Steam for a while. And then, are you familiar with a YouTube podcast called Waiting for Nintendo?
I don't believe so.
It's because it's small. It's like 2,000 subscribers, but it's a daily upload channel. It's a podcast, and I quite enjoy it. This is Jason Graves and HPR Shredder. I don't know if either of those, maybe Jason Graves might ring a bell. Anyway, they got me interested in playing Dragon Quest, so I went back and I played Dragon Quest on NES, emulated it.
Yeah.
And really enjoyed it. And then I played it again. And then I played the Super Famicom remake fan translation. And then I played the Game Boy Color demake.
Yeah.
And then I played Dragon Quest 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. And I got this little... I don't like playing the emulator on my laptop. So I got this for $50, this little thing called an RGB 30, which is just like... It'll play like any Game Boy... Basically anything older than Nintendo 64 it'll play. So Game Boy, Super Nintendo, Game Boy Advance, which I guess isn't older than N64, but yeah, basically any 2D game it'll play. And so I played, those old Dragon Quests, really enjoyed it. It was a real treat to go back and play those games. I'd never played them and heard about them, and I finally did, and I'm really glad that I did.
Yeah.
Those games are really fantastic.
Oh man, have you played 11?
No, I've just played the first 5 over the past couple months.
I mean, 5 is... I think a lot of people will tell you 5 is, like, one of the, like, the ones you need to play. 11 is also phenomenal. Like, 11 is so good. I think that one... Dragon Quest is one of those series where you can play most of those, like, in any order you want, really. And 11 is just, like, one that... I think you're at a place where, like, you would get, like, the most out of it if you were to play that now that you've played some of the other ones.
I'm a little bit intimidated by newer RPGs, like 3D RPGs. Like, the time sync seems insurmountable. Because I think that's not, because one of the first things I do when I'm interested in a game is look at how long to beat. Because I got 2 kids now, and a job and all that.
Oh yeah, no,
And
I do the same thing.
I think I looked it up and it was like 80 hours or something, and I'm like, I don't know about that. Like, these other games are like closer to 30 or less, and 80 hours is like, that's a big chunk of time. I'm sure it's a great game. Maybe I will play it at some point, but at the moment, it's just not really what I'm looking for.
Sure. A part of it for me too is like I'm a little desensitized, if only because I'm a big Xenoblade guy. So like I'm just used to sinking stupid amount of hours into these RPGs. Oh man, I would absolutely though, like if you're looking for something closer to like 30 hours, those remakes of Lunar.
You know, I'm not really. I've heard the name, but I really don't know anything about Lunar. What's their deal?
I don't want to say too much. I mean, they're cool from the standpoint of like it's just a good RPG, but it's also like it's one of those where if you're looking at it from the perspective of what it was doing in its era, like remembering that those started on like the Sega CD. And had like these anime like cutscenes like interjecting like between everything and stuff, like gorgeous games. It's not like reinventing the wheel or anything like that, but they're just good RPGs. So like to see those coming out and getting some love, I just recommend them. I'd say I don't want to say that they're like on the level of most of the Dragon Quests, but they are good.
There's something else so after I played the Dragon Quest, I played Final Fantasy 1 for NES. Didn't really love it, to be honest, unfortunately. So slow. Those battles are because on Dragon Quest, like you can get in and out of a battle in like 15 seconds. Oh my God. Final Fantasy 1, it's like a one battle against a random enemy can take like 3 minutes. It's so slow. Holy moly. Anyway. And then I played Final Fantasy Legends, which is actually the first Saga game for Game Boy. It was the first handheld RPG, and it was the first Game Boy game with a battery save. And I can respect it for that. I didn't really have very much fun, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I kind of I was like, all right, let's try something out. Like, okay, I played a bunch of old RPGs. So anyway. There's this game called Sim Tower. I don't know. I mentioned it just real briefly before we started recording. Are you familiar at all with Sim Tower?
I can't say that I am. I mean, I played some of the. Like, I didn't grow up playing The Sims, but I played some of the sim games, like the simulation games. I played like Sim Theme Park, Sim Ant. Like there was a Sim Park game where you made like your own like little natural habitat resort or whatever. I played some of those old PC ones when I was a kid, but I haven't really touched much of those since then.
Yeah, I never played The Sims. As a kid, when my parents got a new computer from Best Buy, it came with this demo CD with like it was like 30 games. Anyway, that one CD ended up being very influential on me because I ended up buying some of those games and just playing the demos over and over until I got some of them for Christmas or whatever. SimCity 2000 was one of them, which I really enjoyed. And another one that was on that demo disc that I bought was Sim Tower, which is fantastic. The guy who made it also made Seaman, if you're familiar.
Oh, okay. That I am familiar with, yeah.
So Yu Saito, basically, it's a little bit more complicated than this, but basically Sim Tower was his first game and Seaman was his second. And he ended up becoming friends with Satoru Iwata and Miyamoto. And it was his idea, actually, to put the microphone in the Wii remote, even though he doesn't work for Nintendo.
Yeah.
Because I guess Miyamoto and Iwata were like, "What, you got any ideas for this Wii thing?" And he was like, "Well, I don't know, maybe I might want to make like a Seaman kind of game for it. Could you put a mic in the controller?" And they were like, "I don't know." And then they were in a restaurant, he went to the bathroom, and when he came back, they were like, "Actually, you know what, we do like that idea."
Was there?
He didn't end up making a Wii game. Oh, sorry?
Was there a microphone in the Wii remote? I didn't think there was. I thought that was why they made the Wii Speak peripheral.
Oh,
There's a microphone.
Think so.
Or there's a speaker.
Yeah, there's a speaker. unless I misunderstand, because I just read this interview recently, unless I misunderstood something, I seem to be Googling. Is there a microphone in the Wii remote? Because now you got me. Is there? Hold on. I don't want to be talking out of my ass. Is there a microphone in Wii remote? Oh, it says no. What?
Yeah, I didn't, because I remember the Wii Speak peripheral was made just kind of like when, I think around the time Animal Crossing City Folk came out. And like the big gimmick was like, oh, you can chat through this now. I know there was a microphone in, like, the Nintendo DS, but
maybe he was talking about the speaker, the speaker. I must have misread that. I just read that interview the other day. Anyway, well, forget I said that.
Oh, you're good. You're good. I was more just curious.
He also was making a spin-off, a Mario Kart spin-off called Mario Motors. That didn't end up getting finished. He's a very interesting guy. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. Point is, he's awesome, and so he made this game Sim Tower, and then like Will Wright, the guy who made SimCity, basically found it and liked it, and so it ended up getting turned into. In Japan, it's just called The Tower. And then in America, they rebranded it as Sim Tower. Anyway, every 5 years or so, I go back and play it, and I recently discovered that there was a Game Boy Advance version, and so I went to look at a review, and there was not a single review on YouTube. And I was like, what the hell? Like, how can there not be even one review on all of YouTube for the Game Boy Advance remake of Sim Tower?
Yeah.
And I ended up looking it up, and like, oh, there's also a DS version with Mario in it. And wait, hold on, there's a Sega Saturn and a 3DO and a PlayStation version, and there's all this other like expansion pack. Like, anyway, there's a lot more Sim Tower than I ever realized. So I've been going and playing them all. Recently, I just have acquired from Mercari, which is a Japanese website.
Yeah.
Basically every version of Sim Tower, and some of them are not dumped online. I'm going to do that. I'm going to dump them online. And I also got the world record in Sim Tower a couple days ago. Not that I've posted it or anything, but I plan on making a video, not for Digino Gaming, but just for myself, where I basically review and compare every version of Sim Tower and to get the world record and dump some of them. And I'm going to try to get a translation made of the definitive edition on PlayStation if I can. So I'm going to try to make like an hour-long Sim Tower video. I love Sim Tower. It's so good. I've been playing basically nothing but different versions of Sim Tower lately. Anyway, so that's what I've been doing since I've not been playing Switch 2. That's, Dragon Quest and Sim Tower and some Steam, Dead Space remake was really good, especially. We talked about that on DMs.
Yeah.
So I've been having a good time. And I'm happy, I've been having a good time going back and playing all these old games. And, I've always been playing old games, like I have in the NES, I beat Castlevania 1 about 400 times trying to get the world record. So
nice.
It's not like I've just been chasing the new, nothing but the new stuff. But I've completely broken free of it, I guess. And I'm having a good time just playing nothing but old stuff. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, and it's good to be able to just kind of like stretch your legs and just like expand your horizons on that a little bit. I love just going back to. It's why I'm glad I've got a pretty decent collection of just older consoles dating back from like, the 2600. I've got one of those. I've got a Master System and an NES. Like upwards to some of the newer stuff. Obviously, like my heart belongs, I think mostly these days, to like the Saturn and Dreamcast is just like the era that I'm the most fascinated by. Yeah, I'm like God, the Dreamcast is so cool. I love that console to death. I want to be able to do more content about it on the channel at some point. Um, I
You still
did.
gotta make those Resident Evil videos we're always pestering about.
Well, I was gonna say just after MagFest, my roommates and I stopped by a used game store, and I found finally had to pay a good penny for it, but I did finally get my hands on a nice Dreamcast copy of Resi 2.
Nice.
Did a good playthrough of that, and it's again, I don't know if I'll be getting to videos on that this year. I think this October I want to do one final Metroid month. I want to wrap it up. I want to do, Prime Pinball, Federation Force, maybe talk a little bit about like official appearances of Samus and like other games and stuff, and then wrap it up with Metroid Prime 4, and then that's it for Metroid month. Like that's done. Maybe next year tackle like actual in-depth reviews of the Resi series, but I did think it would at least be fun this year to start doing some like streams of the Resident Evil games. Like I would love to do a marathon of streams for those, especially since I've got like the first one on Saturn. I've got 2, 3, and Code Veronica on Dreamcast.
I want to see you review that one. I've really been you've been talking about it for years. I really want to see you do that one.
Yeah. I guess the Saturn version of Resident Evil 1 is so interesting to me. And it's like I've got the means to do something about it, and that's like I decided when I do get around to doing videos about the Resident Evil games, I want to try to do it from my own angle where I want to do the weird Sega ports, you know what I mean? Talk about what made those special.
Angle.
Yeah. Because I think everybody mostly remembers them from like PlayStation. I feel like was PlayStation or GameCube, depending on when you picked them up.
Yeah, because that's, they basically are PlayStation games. And then, of course, YouTube is kind of Nintendo-centric. Or there's at least, I don't know, it feels that way to me. Maybe it's just I'm in that corner, but like you're going to have people making videos about like the impossible port of Resident Evil 2 on N64 and so forth. Like you're going to hear about the Nintendo versions of those games, but I don't really hear, I'm sure there's some talk somewhere, but I don't really hear anything about, like Saturn or Dreamcast. And I had the Dreamcast. I had the Dreamcast Resident Evils, but not the second one. I had RE3 and Veronica, I believe. And, but I've never had a Saturn, and I'm also very intrigued with it. So I'm really curious to see you make some Saturn videos, especially about Resident Evil 1. Very, very interested. I've been pestering you for years.
I know you have, buddy. I know you have. Yeah, unfortunately, it's just like I'm working on a massive, stupid video about Snatcher for the Sega CD right now. And that has taken so much longer than I was ever expecting it to. But I'm also like, at this point, I'm so proud of how it's coming together, and I'm so excited. Like I'm like trying to put my animation degree to work on this one, damn it. Like I want to try to make a video that like you can't find anywhere else. Like I want this to feel like, oh, this is like a unique video about this game. And it looks like it's close to 2 hours long. It's gonna be.
Oh wow.
It's gonna be a big one. But once I'm done with it, I think I need to get back into the Digimon mines for a little bit. That's, if I'm being honest with myself, that's why most of my audience is here. But stuff like Resident Evil, or just like some more like strange Sega stuff, or like, God, I keep talking about it on like Blue Sky and on Twitter and stuff. I really want to do videos on the Xeno games one day. And I'm talking like Xenogears through like Xenoblade. Like I want to do it all. But that's a hell of an undertaking, and I can't really juggle that and Digimon at the same time.
Speaking of Digimon, I just finished writing. We talked about it 9 months ago. I had some problems with this video acquiring some Japanese magazines, but I just handed in a script about the Wonder Swan, which is about 45 minutes, and there's, as you know, there were quite a few Digimon, because Bandai, together with Gunpei Yokoi's Koto Laboratory, they made the Wonder Swan, and Bandai also invented Digimon, and so there was a Digimon launch title, which was kind of their version of Pokemon, more or less. And there's a lot of Digimon games on there, as you know, and you could connect the Digimon Wonder Swan games to Digimon World 2 on PlayStation via some peripherals. And Wonder Swan is I'm not a Digimon guy myself, but
Sure.
I did have to look into this stuff and get some footage and all that.
Well, that was like...
If one was a huge Digimon person, Wonder Swan would seem like a great... And those games came out in English, actually, officially, because they were localized for Hong Kong or something like that. So.
Yes, I believe that the Chinese releases of those cartridges actually did have like an official... I'm not sure how good the translation is. I haven't got my hands on those, but I do have I've got a Wonder Swan. I've got a couple of those Digimon games. And I'm so excited about this. I recently got my hands on the first Digimon Wonder Swan game, along with the peripheral that came with it that lets you connect it to the original Digimon V-Pets.
Dokken Rock? Is that what it's called?
Something like that. It's just so cool because it's like, I kind of make fake jokes about just feeling like imprisoned by Digimon sometimes. I love this franchise, and I think I love it particularly for how strange it is and for like the weird directions and just the odd stuff it's done that you would not normally expect. And it's like it feels like it's a unique frontier unto its own. And I enjoyed a lot for those aspects. I honestly am really happy that I've been able to find some success talking about it and sharing like what I find is interesting about it with so many other people. I do need to send you something real quick though. You're gonna have to look into your Twitter DMs because this is one of the funniest things that ever happened to me. Is I found those Digimon games. And when I was at Too Many Games with some friends, we found a couple of cartridges, but I didn't have like my Wonder Swan working at the time, and so I wasn't really able to do much with it. Now that I've got an upgraded one with a good LCD screen, I was able to rectify that, and this is not going to be great for the audio-only listeners, but I'll explain it after you've seen it. I'm just gonna send you this little clip real quick.
Yes. While I'm waiting for it to load, did you get a Swan color and then get like a better screen and a backlight? Is that what you did?
I don't have a Swan color. What I actually have is one of the original release Wonder Swans.
I'm looking at it right now, the orange one. Yeah.
Yeah. Which was the Digimon Edition one. That kind of worked out. I collect orange anyway.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's nice. That's real nice. Yeah, I've really, because I'm like a Gunpei Yokoi fan, I guess I'll say. After writing that biography of him, like I'm really just sort of enthralled with him. That's a really cool Wonder Swan, by the way. That's the video that he sent me for those listening, is a video of his backlit Digimon Wonder Swan. That's nice.
Yeah, you'll have to let me know when you can actually watch the video because it goes in a direction you would not expect.
The video you sent me or another video?
The video I sent you.
Oh, I must have not. Wait, is it the back? What's on the back?
No, it's what loads up on the screen.
Oh, hold on. I guess I wasn't paying. Oh, it's Japanese.
Not quite.
Oh, the three crucifixes. The three guys on the screen.
Yeah, it's just all the kids and their Digimon just being strung up on crosses. It was the last thing in the world I was expecting, because I was just like
three crosses. It's like the Bible, because there was two guys next to Jesus. Wow, that's some imagery right there.
Yeah, imagine my shock. I was just trying to test the new Wonder Swan I got. I was just like, oh, I wonder what was on this last save file here, and I see that, and I was laughing my ass off, and I had to go show my roommates because I was like, you are not going to believe this.
That was the save file. The last person you bought it from got to that moment and then turn the game off forever.
Yeah. They just put it down. You know what? I don't blame them. But
they got to the part with the 3 guys getting crucified, and they were like, "I'm offended," and they turned it off and forgot about it. 20 years later, they sold it on eBay or whatever, and then it just happened to be you that got it. That's funny.
They couldn't deal with the passion of Guilmon.
But yeah, Wonder Swan is really cool. I've come to learn, and I'm almost curious about Digimon. It's so I can't because I've got burnt out. I can't even do Pokemon anymore. So the idea of like trading in my Pokemon Spurs for Digimon. I was talking earlier about like I don't know if I have 80 hours for Dragon Quest XI to get into Digimon. It's like, oh yeah, like a whole new monster taming franchise with a million entries. It's too intimidating. I can't jump into that pool.
It can get complicated too, although I suppose it sort of depends on like which particular games you're looking at. I mean, like a lot of fans will tell you, the heart of the franchise is always going to be mostly centered on those virtual pets, like the little keychain toys.
Tamagotchi, the masculine version of the Tamagotchis, I believe, right?
Yeah, that was the idea. And then it just kind of like it got a life of its own after that. That original Digimon World game is at its best, like the one on PlayStation. It's at its best when you recognize and appreciate it for the fact that it is an adaptation of those virtual pet keychains into an adventure game. It's like where the game shines the most is when you treat it like that and you understand that origin and what it's trying to adapt. It's what makes that game so fun, and that's like why I made that first video. Was my surprise when I plugged that game in and recognized what it was and what it was adapting. And I was like, oh well, this is cool as hell. Like I want to talk about this. No one's gonna watch it, but I want to talk about this. And you know, the rest is history.
As I was trying to sort out fact from fiction on this, what exactly? So you can connect the Digimon digital pets to the Wonder Swan Digimon games, and you can connect the Digimon Wonder Swan games to PlayStation and use it as a bridge between the virtual pets and PlayStation, I think. So as I was trying to figure out how exactly this worked, I ended up getting put in touch with this guy recently as I was finishing up the script who has over 100 handhelds, including a couple Wonder Swans, and he has was it the Wonder Wave or the Wonder Gate? I think the Wonder Wave, the one that connects the Pocket Station for PlayStation. And yeah, he sorted me out on how exactly it works. He got me footage of him doing it. It's like, because I don't have a collection of shit except for Sim Tower games. So I am sort of envious in a way, although I wouldn't have anywhere to put it all, but of these people like, oh yeah, I have 100 handhelds and like all the peripherals and
yeah,
I have everything. It's like, I wish I had everything. But yeah, it's pretty cool. The Wonder Swan and the kind of stuff that Bandai was willing to do with Digimon. It's very, it's out there. I like it.
It was their home field, and it's like, I remember lamenting at one point that we didn't get any Dreamcast Digimon games because I would have loved to see them like utilize the VMU. But I mean, we do have the Pocket Station, and the Pocket Station was, you know, the PlayStation equivalent, and you know, got to do what I would have wanted from like VMU support for a Digimon game like on that. I would personally love to dig more into like Wonder Swan stuff in general too, not even just for Digimon. There's also a Klonoa game. I think the second ever Klonoa game came out on the Wonder Swan, and I've not had a chance to play through that one yet.
It has a pretty good soundtrack. I plucked a little bit from its soundtrack to use in this video, which hasn't come out yet, but there's one track in particular which is very good.
Klonoa.
I know that you're a big Klonoa.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar, to be honest, except for the Wonder Swan game.
Yeah, I would love to do that, because I've played most of the Klonoa games at this point. I think the gaps in my catalog for that are going to be Moonlight Museum, which was the Wonder Swan game, and then no, I've got the volleyball one. I've got the volleyball spin-off. I think it's like there was an RPG released only in Japan for the Game Boy Advance. There were like 3 Game Boy Advance games, and we got 2 of them here in the States, which were both the puzzle platformers. But the RPG spin-off was exclusive to Japan, and I would love to play through that. I played all the other ones though.
I didn't know there was I didn't know there was a volleyball spin-off either, or an RPG. So
yeah.
I thought there was like 2 main games, and then the WonderSwan. I didn't realize it went that deep.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Switch, like the Switch Online, like GBA service, like they recently put like the first of those GBA games on there. I think both of them were up on the Wii U Virtual Console back in the day. I love Klonoa to death. I mean, hey, if you guys ever do a Klonoa video, yeah, that's the WonderSwan is a cool little device, though. It's especially when you look back on it and you see, I think that there's a history there that not a lot of people quite know about and appreciate, like how many of the Final Fantasy ports that we had for a while, like the ones that were on the PSP, were based on like the WonderSwan versions and such.
Yeah, sorry to cut it. Yeah, the very first Final Fantasy remake ever made was for WonderSwan. They got 3 of them. Because Square allied with WonderSwan because they'd fallen out with Nintendo, so Square was the biggest supporter of WonderSwan.
Yeah.
They made 1, 2, and 4. The 3 remake got canceled when WonderSwan died. They remade the first 2 Saga games, also known as Final Fantasy Legend. They made a front mission. They made quite a few games. They made something like a dozen games for WonderSwan. And then when WonderSwan died, they ported them to Game Boy Advance. But actually, I thought the WonderSwan version looked and sounded better. And then they eventually made it to PSP and everywhere else. But yeah, the whole Final Fantasy remake thing started on WonderSwan. And like there was like a special, because it was like a launch title for WonderSwan Color, and it was bundled, or you could get it bundled with a limited edition Final Fantasy WonderSwan system. My
roommate actually has that one, box and all.
Nice. But yeah, the WonderSwan I think maybe has like the most interesting history of any handheld that I'm familiar with. Which is what got me so interested in it was just sort of the history of how the machine came to be and all that. So I was very happy to make this video. I ended up taking about a year because of these goddamn magazine scans. But anyway.
It's a shame to hear
so what
about.
Else you've been working on? You said you've got a Snatcher video coming up. What else you got coming down the pike?
Well, I guess the next big one after that is going to be the first Digimon World game for the DS. Because I'm getting into like the Nintendo DS, PSP era with those games, kind of getting myself closer and closer to the newer releases. I'm at a point now where I'm doing them in release order, at least for the North American games. Gonna be cheating a little bit. There's one game in there that never got an official release in America, but I have to talk about it, so I'm gonna, when I get to it, I'm gonna like cover that one. And while I'm saving most of the Japan-only releases for a later time. Outside of that, it's just like I want to wrap up Metroid Month this year, and then I've got one video that I meant to do last year, but unfortunately it just like kind of fell through, but I would still love to try to get to it this year, and that would be Skies of Arcadia. That's going to be a big
nice
one. I adore that game, and I'm tackling both the Dreamcast and GameCube ports of it, because I feel like
nice.
You can't do real justice to that game without talking about both versions. And like what makes like the fact that there were 2 of them, like that's so interesting to me, and it's like, especially since like each one has its like benefits and drawbacks, and it's such a fascinating game to talk about. What a gorgeous game.
My favorite game because now it's been 25 years since I've played it. I only played it once, but I really loved it. It was my favorite game for a long time. It's maybe kind of got knocked down over the past quarter century. I don't still consider it my favorite game, but I love Skies of Arcadia. It's so good. One of the first things when I went to work for Digino Gaming was I was like, can I make a Skies of Arcadia game video? Shane was like, that game only sold 300,000 copies, and it was 20 years ago. And most of those people weren't in America. So like the pool of people who would be interested in that video is maximum like 100,000. And probably a lot less because the game is so old. And so it was like, okay, no one's going to watch it, fine. So I never got to make that video, but I love Skies of Arcadia. And you're probably familiar that, I forget which guy, one of the guys responsible for it tried to do like a Kickstarter to make a sequel like in like 2018 or something like that.
Oh, was it like a sequel or like a spiritual successor?
Make a sequel.
Okay.
I could be mistaken because it's been 5 years since I read the story about it.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, now that you mention it, maybe it would have been a spiritual because if he's doing a Kickstarter. Anyway, regardless, yeah, Skies of Arcadia is fantastic. And I only played the GameCube version. I did not play Dreamcast because I didn't have a Dreamcast until they were $50 at Target. By that point, I had already played it on GameCube, so I didn't think there was any point in going back and playing the Dreamcast version. But I would really like to see that video. And look, it's such a good game. Like, really, really amazing game.
It's easily like one of my favorite RPGs I've played. It's got like I've tried to explain it to people where I'm just like, imagine like it's One Piece in the sky. Like it's such an upbeat and like hopeful game. It's like it exudes positivity. Even though it does get dark, it does get serious and everything, but it's that like hopeful core that stays so strong like throughout the entire adventure. Personally, my favorite version is the Dreamcast one, largely for the
Really?
vibes of it. And like a lot of fans will tell you, it's just like the soundtrack just sounds infinitely better on the Dreamcast version than it does on the GameCube
I didn't
one.
know that.
Yeah. So the much higher like bitrate, like audio quality and everything like that. The instruments just sound much clearer on the Dreamcast version. And I think it helped that it was on 2 full-sized CDs versus like 1 mini disc for the GameCube release, but I don't know that for certain.
I will sometimes listen to that Ixataka theme, if you know the one I'm talking about.
I know exactly
as like
which one.
background music when I'm writing. I'll have to check out the Dreamcast version. So I listen to that just on loop pretty often.
Yeah, I've got the, I will say, I've had a hard time finding, like, I can never find the I can't find the GameCube soundtrack anywhere online. Like, every time I look up the soundtrack, it just brings up the Dreamcast one, because that's the one everyone listens to. So it's hard to show people the comparison of it.
There's a website that has, like, every video game soundtrack ever.
Yeah.
Hold on, because I used it because like there's very few WonderSwan soundtracks on YouTube, which is where I usually pull from.
Yeah.
Gun P WonderSwan OST. Here it is. Insider. So it's khinsider.com.
I am gonna.
It has like every game soundtrack you could. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that.
It's got like every, because I just couldn't find a bunch of stuff, and I ended up finding this website, which I guess a million other people know about, but I didn't. And it just got everything. Hold on, Skies of Arcadia. I'll just real quick type it in. Yeah, they got the Dreamcast and the GameCube version. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll add that. That'll actually be super helpful, especially for like comparison's sake. I actually.
They also have I didn't know there was a Skies of Arcadia trial edition. There's actually like 6 different soundtracks. There's GameCube, Dreamcast. I don't know if there's a difference between the Japanese and the American, but they're ripped here separately. Arrangement, yeah, trial edition. Yeah, you'll want to check this out. It looks like there might be more than just those 2 versions.
The arrangement might be from like so I've actually got the vinyl for the soundtrack.
Wow.
And I believe it was Fangamer had that on sale at one point, and God, I'm so happy that I got my hands on it. Sadly, because it's just like it's like 3 LPs. The entire soundtrack is not on there, and there are 1 or 2 tracks that I'm very sad did not make it onto the vinyl. But like the majority of like the big ones are there, and then that 3rd LP I believe is from the arrangement, which is like a lot of like piano mixes, and they're very beautiful.
Nice. I just sent you the link over DMs. Yeah, Scott, I was definitely looking forward to that video, and I was under the impression I'm not like part of the community, so I just assumed I saw that like there was extra content and stuff on GameCube, and I guess maybe the graphics were smoother. I just assumed like that was the definitive edition. I didn't realize that there were, I guess, a sizable number of fans who prefer the Dreamcast version.
And a lot of it is going to be like certain points of preference. There are definitely benefits to the GameCube version as well. There's like it's interesting. So like, sorry,
side quests where you collect the fish or whatever all over the world.
Oh yeah, the moonfish are not in the Dreamcast version.
Right.
There is a quest, like, it changes how, like, finding chams for, Cupel works. So, like, in the Dreamcast version, the VMU starts beeping, like, from your controller whenever you're near, like, a cham, instead of it just showing up on screen. And, so, like, you'll look down and, like, there's Cupel on the little, like, VMU LCD screen, beeping like a little metal detector anytime you're close to one.
That's cool.
There was a whole side quest with this guy Pinta, who's not very prevalent in the GameCube port, but he had his own like VMU-based minigame in the Dreamcast version, where you would just like take that on the go on the VMU, and you would have this whole other side quest like with Pinta to go like get extra items and stuff like that, and that's just not present in the GameCube version at all.
I remember looking like 2-3 years ago. There weren't really very many reviews for Skies of Arcadia, and there wasn't like a super review. You know, like there's only a few reviews for Skies of Arcadia, and they were all like like 8 minutes or whatever, as I recall.
Yeah.
So
there's a really good review out there now. Which is the one that intimidates me, because I don't think I can beat that one, because it's such a good video. That one's done by Modular. I don't know. He did a phenomenal job, but he seems to be fairly well liked in the community, and I really appreciated the work that he put into that. But I'm also just like,
Sorry, I saw it 2 years ago, 700,000 views. Wow, it must be a really good, because that's more people than bought the game, so
yeah,
more than twice as many in 2 years. Well, it must be a good review. Oh, wow, 110 minutes.
Yeah, it's almost like if there's somebody made a video about it, somebody would watch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm also just like just because like somebody else already did a video about it, like I'm not gonna let that stop me from just like saying my piece and just doing it my way.
Well, I like. Does the world really need 2 reviews of the same game?
No, it doesn't.
That's a joke.
It doesn't, but damn it, I'm gonna make another one anyway.
Sure. Well, yeah, I mean, I make gaming videos. It's not like, well, we're the only ones making Ocarina of Time videos. No, so I'm kidding around.
Man, that's another series. I'm not sure that was like I started doing reviews about the Zelda games, and I stopped right before I got to Ocarina of Time, and I'm just like, one day I'll get back to making these. I don't know when, because I'm not in a hurry, because nobody's like waiting with bated breath for another review of Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask. Those games have been talked about to death.
Maybe you should make it, and then regardless of what you're going to say, just make the title not a masterpiece.
just kind of like bring people in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kidding, but I feel like at this point, if you're going to make an Ocarina of Time video, like you've got to have some hook. You can't just be like, Ocarina of Time review number 705. Like you gotta, from what I've seen, other people are like really trying to hit it with an angle. Because yeah, it is a very heavily reviewed game.
Which is deserved. It's been talked about for this long for a reason, but it's just like, what more is there to say? And at that point, would I just be talking about it for the sake of talking about it? And I mean, on the one hand, it's just like, I want to talk about what I want to talk about. But it's just like, if I feel like I don't have anything to add, like I more so want to talk about Majora's Mask. Like I prefer that game. It's my favorite game ever. But
I prefer it too.
Sorry?
I prefer it as well.
Yeah, I think that game is fascinating, and I think it's such a good example of just like an accidental masterwork, where it's just like, even the creator, like you look at Majora's Mask 3D and you see how much like they thought they had to change because it was too weird or whatever, and I'm just like, no, you guys knocked it out of the park whether you meant to or not the first time. But
I guess you saw that Narrow video.
Oh yeah. I don't agree with every point that he made, but that's definitely one of them where I'm just like, no, I agree on that front, where it's, and I made some sort of thread not that long ago on Twitter or something where I was talking about, like, I don't really like the notion of the death of the author, at least not as like people treat it as a rule, and I think that there should be a little bit of give and take, and I think that sometimes the work can take on a life of its own. It can develop in its own way. Things that were not intended can sometimes end up being the best aspects. Things that a creator might think of as a mistake might be somebody's favorite part about it. And I think as a creator, it's important to recognize your intent and what you meant to put into something, but also what manifested and what can be on its own. I don't believe in death of the author, but I do think that, like, the author does need to recognize when there's merit to the things that they didn't mean to make.
I see a lot of people get really precious about changes and remakes, and I don't agree with, like, this notion, like, they shouldn't change anything, and, like, oh, they changed this line, and they changed that line, and, this thing. It's like, well, it's like, if you want to play the original, it's still there, and if it's going to be the same just with like better graphics or more pixels, it's like, well, then why even remake it?
And
like,
that's,
if they're just going to port Majora's Mask directly onto 3DS with some new models or something, it's like, well, like, why even bother? It's like, just make it like a DSi download or something for the N64 version. If you're going to remake something, even if a lot of people will prefer the original, like, it's just much more interesting to have two versions of the same game. And Final Fantasy VII, I mean, I know maybe despite its name isn't exactly a remake, but it's like, it's so much more interesting what they did with it than if it was literally just the original game, just with, bigger graphics.
See, that game is like, that's the best case scenario, where I almost see it as like a meta sequel, I think is like how I've seen it described. And I think that there's a lot of truth to that. The sort of things that frustrate me is when I feel like there is like legitimate purpose to a remake and it misses the mark. Like Persona 3 Reload is a really good example, where I'm like, this is a game that already had a couple of different versions with features and qualities that were kind of split amongst themselves. And like, man, there was some really important content that was added to the PSP version that was not in the PS2 release, but the PSP version sucks to play. So if you're doing a remake, get it all together in one package. Make a definitive version. Like, make the thing that has it all. And they didn't do it. Instead, they just made another version that has a bunch of, like, benefits and drawbacks that feels dissonant, like, from the original vision again. And so now it just makes it even more complicated. Like, that sort of thing frustrates me. And from...
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, I don't seem to be alone in that notion with that particular release either.
I understand that point of view. Like, if you're gonna remake it, have it be the definitive version, not an alternate version. I definitely understand that. And there have been instances where that's what I wanted for one particular remake or another. But also, like playing all these SimTower games recently, there's basically like 10 versions of the same game that are all different. It's like, I kind of prefer that. Like, I would rather have 10 unique versions of SimTower than each one was just the same as the one before, but sharper graphics and maybe, you know, a little extra content. It's more interesting when you've got a reason to play more than one version.
Yeah,
if there's 5 versions of a game, you can really have fun playing them all, as opposed to, well, just play the newest one. There's no reason to play any of the others. This replaces them. There's no need. I think that's my opinion.
And I can see that too. My thing with, like, for me, it's a very case-by-case thing. Like, there are definitely remakes and everything where I'm just like, God, one of the best examples of a great remake ever is Resident Evil. Like, the first one on the GameCube. Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, but, like, with Persona 3 Reload, like, that one, because of the way that it was handled, the sense of things missing outweighs the sense of, like, things added or, like, anything that's, like, original to itself. Like, it feels like it's a hollowed out package of what it could have been versus what it ended up being. That's where the disappointment comes from, is like how much it misses instead of how much it does.
I haven't played Persona 3, but certainly some games I could definitely see feeling that way, for sure.
But that's another one of those things where it's just like, Persona 3 is like a minefield discussion, because, like, there are, like, several different versions of it now, and everyone's got a favorite, and everyone feels very strongly about the version they like, or they hate it simply because a lot of people talk about it. It's like one of those things. But Persona in general is a pain in the ass to talk about, because it's one of those things where it ballooned out to a wide enough audience that's full of really opinionated and annoying people that do not leave any quarter to differing ideas.
You know, speaking of which, before we get more in the weeds, back to your docket coming up, and I kind of want to talk about sort of the way YouTube's been going. You know, I wonder if if it is better in the long run to focus on these sort of less, because it's like you make an Ocarina of Time video, in a way it feels like you're gonna get more views than if you make a Skies of Arcadia video, because more people played it, more people care about it, so therefore it's gonna get more views. I'm wondering if, like, the tides are shifting in that regard. So a couple things come to mind. One is, are you familiar with the retrospective channel? He's been going for like 12 years or something. King K.
Oh,
you know him?
Yeah, 100%. I've spoken with him before. Nice guy.
So I like King K. He voiced one video I wrote for Digino Gaming. I saw him, I think it was a community post recently, him saying basically that, like, views are down and he might have to hang up his spurs and quit doing videos because it's just not making enough money anymore. And, you know, that's a guy who's got a back catalog of 12 years worth of, you know, he does all the Zeldas, you know, hour-long perspectives on each, all the Pokemon games, all the not all of them, but like his channel is mostly like the hits, the Pokemons and Zeldas and Marios of this world. And that guy, who was it? Magular. You're getting 700,000 views on Skies of Arcadia, a game that only has, sold not even half that many copies. And Tim Rogers of Action Button also comes to mind, although obviously he has a hell of a stage presence that is hard to match.
He's a law unto his own.
Yeah, that dude rules. But he covers some very obscure games as well. I'm wondering if, at this point, all else being equal, if maybe it is better to take the road less traveled than what appears to be the safe road.
Yeah,
I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud.
Oh no,
because I would very much rather see you, I mean, you can do what you want, of course, but I would be more interested in seeing you do Saturn versions of Resident Evil and Skies of Arcadia and other kind of roads less traveled, as opposed to Ocarina of Time.
And that's the sort of thing, is just would I love to talk about Ocarina of Time? Yeah, sure, but I don't, with the amount of time and energy that goes into the, if 4 or 5 years ago, if I were to tackle that, it would have been a very different video, and I think it would have been less intensive, it would have been less taxing. That's not how I make videos anymore. I mean, I've got an 8-hour visual novel game that I'm doing a video of right now that I thought was going to be easy, and it's turning into a feature film. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just not how I work. And it used to be. But I don't look back as fondly on those videos as much as I do, my Gravity Rush 2 review, or my review of Kaze no Notam, which not as much in depth, but that's a game no one cares about except me. And it's being able to talk about stuff like that, just, man, that's just where the fun is. And it's just where it's a much more comfortable place, where it's just even if it doesn't perform especially well, I've done something a little bit more unique, and I've at least tried to do something that was a legitimate source of interest and not just, hey, this is popular. You know what I mean? I'm in that a little bit with Digimon, but then again, at least within that front, I feel like I'm able to offer an angle that hasn't really been tackled as frequently as it has been for a lot of other games. And so I feel that same sort of comfort and accomplishment there, where I feel like I have a legitimate place in that space, and there's something refreshing about that. And viewership and the way that content performs or doesn't is definitely always a concern. Cat Icarus and I were talking about this, not only just in the podcast episode that I had him on, but just in private conversations, we've talked a lot about just how the nature of all of it is, and him just trying to ground me and just be you gotta stop stressing yourself out over this stuff so much. You're gonna drive yourself insane, and you're not even going to enjoy this, and at that point, why are you even doing it? And it's at that point, just go get literally any other job, something that's actually stable and won't just disappear on you if regardless of how well you do on it. The passion's got to be there.
I'm looking at your channel right now. Man, the views are really all over the place. Your last video from a month ago about Metroid Prime 4 got 2,000 views, and then earlier this year you had a couple of Digimon videos that got in the hundreds of thousands, and I'm sure this is a question that you ask yourself all the time, but I'm curious. Why do you think those videos? Was it just because they're Digimon? I mean, Metroid is more iconic maybe than Digimon. Maybe not. I don't know, maybe there's more Digimon fans. There probably are. But do you think it's just a matter of brand recognition, or do you think that you did something different or hadn't been done before, or a new angle or something? Why did those videos pop off as opposed to others?
I think a part of it is you don't see a lot of large-scale retrospectives on especially those mainline Digimon games. So I'm sure you'll see something like Digimon World 3 performed a hell of a lot better than my review of the Digimon games for the Game Boy Advance. Something like that. There's not as much discussion on those games, but those games were played by people and they were pretty well liked. And the people that are avid fans of them, they are large games, they are intensive games, and they require and ask a lot of investment. And because of that investment, people think back on it a lot. And, sometimes when you're reminiscing, you just kind of want to hear somebody else talk about it. Maybe to reinforce your own opinions or feelings about it, or just to kind of like get a new perspective. It could be column A, column B. And it's kind of why I started going in the direction where I'm like, let me try to emulate the box art of like these respective games, because I feel like that just catches the eye a little bit more. God, I can't wait for people to see the thumbnail for the Snatcher video. But I think that there is, I think I got lucky and I hit it at a point where I was able to make a name for myself as just like, oh, I was the guy that made like an hour plus long retrospective on Digimon World. At the time, at least if we're talking like English-speaking, English-speaking location-based, there weren't many, if any, videos like that on that game at the time. So I really only got my foot in the door and was able to get that audience because I just got there first. Anybody else could have done that, and I think that they could have done just as good of a job, if not better. But I was, I kind of like hit the ground with that. And part of the reason I even did that video was, I was super invested in it, and I had seen videos on it before, and I'd always been curious about that game even since I was a kid. And when I finally got my hands on it, I was just like, I feel like I never got this impression of what this game actually is from any of the smaller videos I've ever watched on it. Like, I never quite got what this game was actually like. And I wanted to be the guy that made the video that just got into the weeds and was just like, here is the experience you're looking at. Like, this is this game. And I think that's why those videos do well. There's not as much you can do with like the GBA videos. Those are not as interesting of games. People remember them fondly. People will look back on like the Digimon Rumble Arena games or the Battle Spirit titles for the Game Boy Advance. Although I would say that the Wonder Swan color versions are better from what I've played of them. And then Digimon Racing is just funny that game exists. But they're not gonna draw as much attention as like those big RPGs. And there's a part of me that has definitely been like, I'm a little worried about what's gonna happen when I just run out of Digimon games to talk about. Because you can see that like not a whole lot of my other content really performs the same way. It's why
I can see why you said that you're maybe a slave to Digimon as I'm looking at your channel and the view counts.
Yeah,
because it's like 600,000, 300,000, 10,000, 2,000, 500 million. Well, I can see. I had that kind of thing going with Pokemon on when I still had my own channel. It was like, here's anything else, whether it's Mario or Metroid or some random thing that wasn't like a big thing. It'd be like 3,000, 5,000. I was like, one Pokemon video, 100,000. Another Pokemon video, 200,000. I'm like, there's kind of no point in doing anything but Pokemon.
And like, it's why I'm curious.
That's how it's gonna be.
Yeah, it's why I'm curious about how like Snatcher and Skies of Arcadia are gonna do. How the Skies of Arcadia review performs is at least going to be a window. It's at least going to tell me like how things are going to play out later on. I don't want it to decide for me what I'm going to make, because to me that negates the purpose of the channel. It negates the purpose of me creating. But it will at least kind of like be either a promise or a warning of like what I'm getting myself into when I start tackling stuff like more Dreamcast titles, which I really want to do. Xenoblade, stuff like that, other large-scale RPGs. And now, granted, there will be other factors that play into those, but I'm just kind of trying to look at like my audience as I have it now. How open are they going to be to me branching out from strictly Digimon? Thankfully, Digimon fans are already kind of on the outskirts. Like they already have like extending out interest in just like RPGs and like in-depth looks at like larger mechanic stuff. So I'm hoping that gives me a little bit of hope that like I can draw a lot of those people into like. I was talking with a friend and she was saying that like she thinks there's a lot of overlap, surprisingly, between like Digimon and something like Skies of Arcadia, and so
I see that.
Yeah. So here's hoping, because I'm not going to be able to do Digimon forever. Like, it's not a question of if I want to, I'm not going to be able to, not with the way that I make content. I can't make weekly, like, I'm not Karn. He's great at what he does, and he can tackle, like, Digimon content about, like, strange little Digimon factoids and just, like, make a video out there. He also has, like, the cadence and the talent to just, like, be entertaining in short bursts in a way that I lack, and I have to make up for it with long form, I suppose. I don't so I don't quite have that level of like natural delivery or vocabulary or anything like that. But
I'm also wish I that's why I'm a writer and not a an on-screen personality, is because I do not have I don't have it.
Yeah.
You have a lot more it than I have.
I don't know about that, but yeah, I don't know. It's a weird place to be in. It's like I feel frustrated a lot of the time by the YouTube space and the very nature of like trying to keep up with trends or what's going to do well or what feels justified. At the same time, I also feel very blessed in that I have found any success in this at all. I think it's good to kind of like stay grounded in that sort of sense of like be grateful for what you have and recognize like how you got there and what does well. At the same time, don't let it tether you down. Remember why you started doing it to begin with, and don't be afraid to take risks. I almost didn't do Digimon because I thought no one was going to watch it. So, every once in a while, I gotta take that leap and just kind of see where it takes me.
Yeah, that's a good grounded perspective that you're presenting. Allow me to be a little bit of a downer.
Go for it.
In contrast, it is discouraging to make a video you really are proud of and you put more work into, and you think is a video that's more worthy of existing. Because there's a lot of videos that get, content for content's sake.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that on the internet. And so, for example, I made a 1-hour life story about Gunpei Yokoi.
It was a great video.
The guy. Thanks. It's probably my favorite video I ever made. And I think it was a video that really was, I don't know if I'd say needed to exist, because what really needs to exist, but it was worth existing more than, my other videos, let's say. Because he's a very important guy, a very interesting life story that was even his Wikipedia page was just very sparse. So I bought both his biography or autobiographies, or one autobiography and one biography by the same co-author. A couple other Japanese books, and had him try. Anyway, I just put everything I could into that video. I thought it turned out really good. Really good. I was very happy with it. Not that I was expecting it to blow up, but it didn't do very well. And then, a couple months later, I made a video that was just random GameCube facts for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And of course, it got more. It was a fraction of the work. And frankly, the video just didn't really need to exist. The GameCube video. It's just did you know that there's an Easter egg of just horseshit. I don't want to drag, I do get paid to make these videos, fortunately, so I don't want to drag it too much, but it's just random trivia. It's just, anyway, yeah, it's discouraging when you've got a story or something that's like kind of hasn't really been done before, and you think it's a story worth telling, and no one really wants to listen to it.
Mhm.
And then you make something that's much lower quality, and people click on that one instead. So, I'm very thankful that I have this job and that I can do this, and the people watch them at all, of course. But that aspect can be discouraging of needing to kind of, I don't know. I guess maybe I'm being up my own ass. It's like
No,
viewer, you do have to you can't expect the viewers to watch what you want them to watch. They'll tell you, they'll decide what they want to watch, and you need to make it for them. And that's just sort of how it works. And it would be very egotistical and self-indulgent for me. Like, no, I'll tell you what you're going to watch. I'll tell you what matters and what doesn't matter, you swine.
that is
So,
one way it could be looked at. And I apologize for cutting you off there.
No, I've been cutting you off a lot. I have a bad habit of doing that. But I'll wrap up and just to say that, maybe I am beating up my own ass a little bit, or part of me is, because I am thankful and I am but a humble servant. But it is discouraging to have the better stuff, no one care, and you're like, but this is more important. Anyway, I'm beating up my own ass. I'm looking like a real asshole right now. I'm sorry. You go ahead. You go.
No. Honestly, I think this is something that all of us go through, and I 1,000% relate. I'm hoping to overthrow it with the Snatcher video, but as of right now, my favorite video that I have worked on was Gravity Rush 2. That video basically bombed, at least compared to like what a lot of my other content does. It did not perform particularly well. But like I look at that, and then I look at like the comments of the people that did watch it, and the people that got it, and the people that are in there like, holy crap, I never looked at this game and like its themes in this way before, and like I felt like I really did do something special there, and I got to like really say something. To me, that made it worth it. And it's kind of like what we see a lot in like the entertainment industry, the very like one for you, one for me kind of mentality, where you have like a couple of talented individuals who make a bunch of work on a bunch of movies that's mandated for them, until eventually they get to make their weird sci-fi spin-off of Treasure Island in space, and it doesn't do well, but damn it, the kids that grew up watching that love it to pieces, like me. There's meaning behind that, and I think that like I guess if I can get a little self-indulgent for a moment,
Please, it'll take a little heat off me for being so self-indulgent. Your turn.
There is a part of the reason I got into creating stuff, and part of the reason I even like went to college to get an animation degree, which is how I learned a lot of the skills that I use to work on videos now, was because I saw this guy online who just liked to make weird little like animated fight scene videos on YouTube, until eventually he got hired on by some company and worked with them for a while until he got to create his own series. It was rudimentary, it was crude, it was you could tell it was extremely low budget, but man, if you couldn't see the heart in it. And when he got to go full throttle, he went full throttle, and like there was an energy to it that was basically unmatched. It's maybe not the greatest series out there, but Ruby from Rooster Teeth is like probably one of the most influential pieces of media that has led me to creating my own stuff to this day. And Monty Oum is one of the most inspirational figures that I've ever had the pleasure to like actually be inspired by. And he had this amazing quote that I think back on all the time. Anytime that I'm feeling discouraged, anytime that I'm feeling down about what I do, or like it's not worth the effort. And he said, "I believe that the human spirit is indomitable. If you endeavor to achieve, it will happen given enough resolve. It may not be immediate, and often your greater dreams are something you will not achieve within your own lifetime. The effort you put forth into anything transcends yourself, for there is no futility, even in death. And that has always stuck with me, especially since he passed away like maybe a week or two after I got my acceptance letter into college, something that I was inspired to do because of him, to go into animation because I wanted to be like that guy. And it was a trivial thing. It was just going in for like a routine checkup. He had an allergic reaction to something, slipped into a coma, and he was gone within a couple of days. And yet, here I am, still here, still making stuff, still thinking of crazy ideas, things that I might be able to turn into something one day, inspired to go out there and make these crazy things. And there has not been futility. Metroid has never done well on my channel. Like, those videos do not get views. And yet, yeah. But how do we know each other? It's how I got connected with you. It's how I got connected with Trav Guy, with Brendan Hesse, like all of these amazing people. While the Metroid stuff has never been like a big pull for my channel, it's been some of the most important stuff I've ever worked on because of like the friends and the connections that I've made through that. And that's the sort of thing that I have to keep reminding myself. It's hard to sometimes, especially when you put so much damn effort into something only for it to just like barely like scrape on by. But there was a reason that you put it together in the first place, and that in and of itself matters.
Yeah, I do agree that even when something bombs, if it was good, then in some ways it was worth making, even if in others it wasn't worth making. And I certainly, feel that. I have mixed feelings about the videos I liked that bombed, and maybe even more mixed feelings about the videos I thought were kind of just popcorn that did better than the ones I put a little more heart into. It's a little bit, I'm of two minds, I guess, about it, is feeling discouraged and just glad to, because this is my full-time job, and I didn't even graduate high school, so I'm lucky to be doing anything, let alone writing about video games and be able to support a family doing it. Couldn't support a family in America doing it. That's why I live in China. But it's a weird industry. It's a weird job, as you know.
Yeah, and it is volatile, and it feels like the rules can get shifted on you, like at the like at the drop of a pin. Like the whole way that everything functions can just shift, and suddenly the rules have changed. It's so it's like I also don't want to like discount or say like those feelings are not valid or just like that it's not sensible to be brought down by that. Again, I've been there time and again. But I think that there's a strength to the idea. I'm trying to open myself up more and more to this concept of, it's just like, especially when it's like your full-time job and there's a lot of weight that kind of feels like it comes with it. Excuse me. You do have to kind of take that like the pragmatic sort of sensibilities. It's a business and you got to do what works. But when you have that passion, when you have that drive to just work on something that you know isn't going to do well, do it anyway. Do it smartly. Do it just kind of like on your own time and stuff like that. Work on it when you can, but work on it. Like, do it. Put it out there. It doesn't matter if 5 people see it. If 5 people think it's the most incredible thing they've ever witnessed, you don't know who you're inspiring to go do something else incredible.
Yeah, that's going to be the Sim Tower video for me, because I know no one gives a shit about Sim Tower. That's why there is no review for the Game Boy Advance version or the DS version or the console ports, because nobody cares. There's a reason those videos don't exist, and I expect that video to bomb. But I'm also going to spend, $1,000 and many months making it. So I feel good about that. But I know that when it does flop, just as it will, I know it will, and I know that when it does, I'm gonna feel like a fool. For having just so much in it. But there's a bright side to it and all that, and anyway, I'm droning on and on and on. But fortunately, I think the people who've come this far in the video are not even listening anymore. So they've fallen asleep, or they've they're tuned out. They're driving their car while they're doing dishes or whatever. So
I have been,
I guess I could say
I have been told that this podcast is pretty good for car trips.
It's funny, maybe we talked about this last time, so sorry to repeat myself, but again, no one's anyone who's here is invested in it enough, I guess, that they're not going to follow me for repeating myself. Or they're just not paying attention. So, I usually spend about a month, full-time, about a month making each video for Did You Know Gaming, and sometimes, kind of off and on for many months, for years. Sometimes some videos, like this WonderSwan video, took about a year, but it wasn't the whole year. But anyway, so I put a lot of effort into them, and then a few years ago, Shane started a second channel that is just compilations of the videos, but it's called something, instead of whatever the title was, it's a bunch of videos together, and it's titled something like 6 hours of Zelda facts to fall asleep to. And those videos, those versions of the same videos get so many more views than the actual video, because people would rather just do that's my role in this world, which is people would rather tune out and fall asleep to the videos I'm making than actually watch them. Which I'm, again, because if not for that, we'd be out of business, because views are in the toilet. Views are down 100,000 videos of views per video, which is kind of a lot, but also, like, for several people who are working full time, one video a month with 100,000 views isn't a lot of money. But that's sleep compilation channels making like 5 times more than the film videos, which is kind of, I have very mixed feelings about. But why did I even bring that up? Oh, because you said this is good for car trips. Yeah, Did You Know Gaming videos are good for being unconscious too. Well, they're not so good when you're conscious, but they're pretty good when you're somewhere else completely mentally.
But imagine if they're good for both.
Well, like I said, the sleep channel has way more views and like way more revenue. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm a little bit insulted, but also thankful, because I'd be swinging a hammer right now if not for those people who fall asleep to those videos.
I've got a few friends that have put those together, and I'm just like, I know once I finally wrap up Metroid month, like probably what I'll do is like I've seen some other friends do it, because January, from my understanding, January is just bad for like ad revenue in general.
Yeah.
So what I'll probably do, just kind of like I don't want to say like a filler thing, but maybe next January, once I've finished up like my last Metroid month, I can just do like a compilation of just like, oh, Wayne reviews every Metroid game, and just like make a big compilation of that. And
7 hours of Metroid retrospectives to fall asleep to.
God, can you imagine the Digimon one in the future? Jesus.
Imagine the watch.
That's got to be insane, because like, man, I don't even know how many hours that is like as of right now, and I've got a couple other videos I know are gonna be, multi-hour on their own at some point. How did I get here? How did we do any of this?
It's a crazy mixed up world. I didn't know that you went to college for animation. It's interesting.
I did. You would never know it, because I never animate anything. I barely even draw anymore. But that's something that I would like to kind of get back into the swing of things. I gotta learn how to use Blender. I learned how to do 3D animation. I've done a little bit of a mix. I've done traditional. So I've done like pencil on paper, like I've done like just like tracing paper, like animation through a light box, and that was like one of the most fun things in the world I ever got to do. But like what I wanted to learn was like 3D animation, like Ruby. And I have not gotten to do a lot with it, but I need to just like, there's a lot of great resources out there, a lot of super talented model artists that just make their stuff available for people. And I gotta get down with Blender, learn how that stuff works, because trying to learn a different animation program is hard, but I gotta put the effort in. Learn how to model again, learn how to rig again, and then get back to animating, because that's, it's what I really wanted to do.
I was a salesman before I was doing this job.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I spent most of my, because I'm 37 now, fixing me 38. I spent most of my first I worked in a t-shirt factory for a few years, which was horrible. Because it was like 110 degrees and it paid $8 an hour. But after that, I was a door-to-door salesman for a while, and then I was like basically a telemarketer for a while. And then there's another, so for about 10 years I was a salesman before I got into doing this. Because I don't have a degree. Sales is the kind of thing that you can do. It doesn't really matter if you have a degree or not. So that was kind of where I ended up.
I was a janitor for a while.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Where at a school or something?
Church. Is the church my family grew up in. I think I started doing housekeeping there when I was like 12 years old, and
it's illegal.
It was like I don't know. There was some sort of like loophole around it, but like I was pretty young when we started like working that kind of stuff, and it was just kind of like volunteer work until eventually I think I was like 15 or 16. I was able to actually get put on payroll for it. It built up a decent work ethic from a young age. And
sounding a lot like, the more you go on, the more this sounds like child labor. I did it as a volunteer job until I was 15, at which point I got put on payroll, and I got a lot of work ethic as a 12-year-old. Really sounding a lot like a job. Gotta tell you.
Yeah, it was. I did not care for it when I was a child. But like I'll take the positives from it that I can get. You know what I mean? That was, well, shoot, that was damn near like 20 years ago at this point. It's like that's a different bridge. Like I've long past that. Plus, at this point, like
statute of limitations. If you're thinking about suing, I think you've lost your opportunity.
Yeah. Nah, I ain't that upset over it. It's again, like at this point, like I appreciate having this, like, I don't know. There's not much of a skill set that comes from that, but I like keeping a tidy place, so I've got that going for me. But it was like I worked that up through like community college. I was involved with that for a very long time, so I kept with it. Once I could just make my own decisions for my own like occupation. And then I was a special needs partner for a couple of years, and that was incredibly rewarding in and of itself. Like, obviously there are days when it's just like you've got like a certain level of patience, but it's also just like when you're working with somebody that legitimately can't help it, like you can't be upset with them. Like it's like almost impossible to. And so like you.
Sounds like having kids.
I'm sorry.
It sounds like my experience having little small kids.
Yeah, where it's just like, hey man, there are frustrations and everything, but it's also just like, man, if we can't like love people like that, like we've truly lost our way. And I think that it was incredibly rewarding for me to be able to work with Jonathan, and I was a special needs partner for like the one guy, and like I'm so glad that I did that, because it just like, I think it was good for him, but I think it was good for me too, to just learn that level of just like how to work with people, how to understand people, and just be like, I don't know. I don't have a thesis for that or anything, but I'm glad I did that. I did food service for a little bit once I got to college, and then I've been working retail and retail management for the past like six and a half years.
Is that what you're doing now?
Yep. Full-time job is retail management. YouTube is not my career job. That is not what keeps the lights on.
I thought you worked at a GameStop or something.
Not a GameStop. It's a local game store. I don't like to name which one because I ain't trying to dox myself. But it's like a smaller, like family-owned business. But I manage one of the locations, and I've been doing so for like half a decade now.
Do you get free demo discs?
No, no, we don't really get free stuff. But you know, we get a discount on things, and you know, cool stuff comes through every once in a while. So I've been fortunate enough to get a lot of my like used like retro console and like game collection, mostly just by working in that space. But I've also like discovered a lot of like interesting weird games and everything just by working in that environment. Not only that, it's also just a really cool window into like, sometimes cool, sometimes disheartening window into like how the layman operates within this this system. Like I was just having a conversation with a customer yesterday who was just like, he was talking about, it's just like, oh, I just really want a rework of like GoldenEye 007. I'm just like, oh, they just re-released that a couple of years ago. And he was like, yeah, but that was like a straight port. I want it with updated graphics. And it's just like that like cold light of day thing I have to remind myself. It's just like, oh yeah, graphics mean a lot to some people. Like that is like the only reason like games exist sometimes to them. Whereas for me, like I look back at like older looking at games and stuff like that, and the blockiness of it, like the jankiness is like legitimately a part of the appeal. Like I don't love it in spite of it, I love it for that, and it just doesn't work that way for a lot of people. So it's always like interesting just kind of getting that window into like, hey, this is how most people, how consumers, how customers approach this industry, and what matters to them. I do apologize. I feel like I've sort of just kind of kept you on tangent after tangent there. I've kind of gone off a little bit.
Well, I'm happy to, I'm just happy to chat. Like I said, anyone who's still tuning in at this point is either asleep or is along for the ride. So I'm at this point, we're just kind of chatting, and I guess we can keep rolling tape. I'm happy to, because I live in China. And also, I'm fairly busy with having a job and 2 kids and all that. I don't really have friends, so it's rare that I get to. And I don't really speak Chinese either, so it's rare that I get to actually just talk to some. I only have one friend, and he's a 75-year-old Scottish man who I have coffee with a couple of times a month.
Oh, I gotcha.
In fact, I got a message from him earlier. He's I think his health is starting to decline, so. I might be down to 0 friends. Let's see, what do you say? Yeah, he's got a bad knee. He's had to delay his Scottish. We're going to have haggis for some Scottish thing. Anyway, who cares? Point is, people listening don't care about my haggis friends' bad knee. Point is it's just nice to chat about video games for a while, because Tony doesn't know very much about Metroid.
Yeah, and that's like that to me has been like the most rewarding part about just getting into this scene in general, is just being able to meet so many like-minded people, to find other people that actually share these interests, and we can kind of learn from each other and bounce off of each other, which is, I mean, the point of this podcast in general. But yeah, it's just like being able to just have like people to just kind of like chat with and everything. I've been very fortunate to meet a lot of really amazing people just kind of within these spaces, yourself included, of course, and just be able to like chat and share experiences and interests and just the sort of stuff that we find cool,
Speaking of sharing interests, what did you think of that Doom 2 Megawatt Augur Zenith?
What?
Because last time I recommended that you play that Doom 2 Megawad Cyberpunk
God,
one.
I still need to play that. Oh man.
That was a joke because I knew when I said there was no way you were ever gonna actually play it. So now I'm just joking. Oh, what did you think of my recommendation from 9 months ago, knowing that you had not played it? But since you're talking about Snatcher and all that, it is like a Snatcher themed Doom Megawad. I reckon you probably don't have GZ Doom and all that, and you don't feel like downloading it. But just look at the first, 2 minutes of. I'll send you a link. Just look at the first 2 minutes of this review of it, and you'll get it. It like from the very first second of the first level, it is clearly a Snatcher reference.
Yeah.
So I'll just. Anyway, that was just a joke. Speaking of sharing interests in Snatcher,
I've been meaning
bring that back up.
I've been meaning to try out because I've played a bit of like OG Doom. I'm more familiar with like the newer stuff. I'm really bad at OG Doom. Like that game is hard for me. But I would love to learn how to play stuff like that more because like the I guess they're calling them like boomer shooters now. I like that style a lot. And I also just love when people just take like the basis of something like that and just like make something new out of it. So like the WADs and stuff like that is such a cool concept, and the premise of like a Snatcher, like maybe not like a fully Snatcher themed one, but one that obviously takes inspiration from that to some degree. Like that's cool to me because Snatcher's cool.
There's also Blade Runner in there and a few other things.
Well, you won't believe what Blade Runner is also in, trust me. That Snatcher in and of itself is just a testament to how much Kojima loved Blade Runner.
Because, I know, like, I think I said this last time, like, me recommending Megawads in general and specific Megawads, no one listening is going to take me up on it, especially you.
You'd be surprised. I've got one or two people in my audience that I feel like may have already played it, if not, would probably jump on the opportunity.
There's this really great channel. I don't expect you to watch it. It's the one linked to you, though, where all he does, basically, is review Megawads, many of them from 20 years ago. He's a professional writer. So, like, the videos are very well organized and very cleverly written and all that. And he just plays... a Megawad is typically 32 levels, and he gives about 45 seconds to each level. And it's so good. I found so many great Megawads through this guy. It's a really great channel. It's the kind of channel that, like, could never have more than 50,000 views on a video. Because there's not enough people playing Doom Megawads in current year.
Yeah.
But he really brings his A game. I just really, it's the kind of channel I just really appreciate. Like, the guy knows that he's got a ceiling of 50,000 views, but he just does such a good job. Like, there's no chance that one of his videos is going to blow up and get 1 million views. It's just never going to happen. But he chose this path anyway. There's quite a few channels I watch that are, like, really small. I mentioned Waiting for Nintendo earlier.
Yeah. Well, I mean, hell, when you found me, I don't even know if I had, like, a full 10K subscribers at the time.
I think it was 4,000.
Man, was it really? Jeez.
30 now or something like that?
If not close to it. Let's see, where are we at? Oh yeah, 33, so close to 34.
Congrats. And that was, 3 years ago or so?
It was like right before Dread came out, I believe. So
maybe 4 years then, yeah.
Yeah, 4 or 5.
Yeah, that's not 4 years ago. Man, looking at your channel, man, because I remember, like, for a while you were doing those Sonic videos, and I remember Sonic 3 in particular really kind of blew up for you. I feel like maybe I'm misremembering. That was, like, by far your biggest video you'd ever made.
At the time, I believe it was, but I also kind of credit that, like, Sonic 3 Knuckles video to, like, that was sort of the beginning of, like, how I make videos now, because that was, like, I think it was also one of the longest videos I made at the time. It was, like, one of the most in-depth.
Yeah, because I think the ones before that were like 10, 15 minutes, and that one was maybe not quite an hour, but it was definitely longer than 10 minutes.
It was up there, and it was just like I had more fun with that one, and I tried playing around with the editing a little bit more, and it was like that was when I was just like, I started fitting into a place where I was comfortable with getting into a deeper discussion about games instead of just being like, here's just a quick synopsis of this, and I'll try to make a quip every once in a while.
Yeah, and I think you got... I thought you were going to stick with Sonic after that, because that blew up so big for you. And then I think you did Digimon pretty soon after that, and that blew up like even bigger. And then, then the rest is history.
Yeah.
I suppose.
I mean, I'm sure I'll get back to Sonic at some point, but...
Sonic was never good. It was never good.
So I've been told. I think, honestly... When it comes to Sonic, I feel like I would probably, if it's not just, like, shorter, like, quick reviews about new releases, I feel like the only other ones I'm really interested in doing videos about would be, like, Adventures 1 and 2, and then, like, probably strictly the Dreamcast versions. Like, maybe I'll touch on the GameCube versions, but I don't really... It's like, from that point, it would be like, the carryover of I care about Sonic, but only in so much that at this point I just want to talk about Dreamcast, and that is like my favorite era of Sonic, I guess. Even though I vastly prefer like Sonic Adventure 1 over Sonic Adventure 2.
To be honest, I don't like Sonic. I liked it as a kid. Had a Genesis with my brother. Loved it. It was basically the only Genesis games we played. And the second and the third one, maybe the first. But as an adult, it's just like, you can't really go fast unless you already know the level. And so you kind of need to, this is just my experience. I'm sure a lot of people will tell me this is a steaming hot dookie take. But, you can't really go fast unless you know the level. And correct me if I'm wrong. Tell me why I'm wrong, please. And you can't, so you need to have played the game, I feel like, several times in order to go fast.
No, that's 100% accurate, and I think that's intentional. I think that it's like you're kind of earning that sort of momentum through skilled play, and a lot of that is learning the terrain. It's kind of like taking the speedrunner formula of like Resident Evil or Metroid, but turning it into a platformer.
Because it's like, people didn't use these exact words, but basically like, oh, just play it 4 or 5 times, and then you're really going to like it on your 6th go. It's like, oh man, well, like, no, like, it's just like, like, I used to be a salesman, this is not a good pitch to get me. And I liked it as a kid, as an adult, like, I've tried, so I got Sonic Mania it was like the second or third game I had on my Switch, and then I got Sonic Origins. Actually, it was because of your video. I was like, let's give it a go. I think maybe it'll click this time. I got Sonic Origins. Bounced pretty quick. I feel like there was one other time in my adult life I tried to be like, yeah, I like Sonic as a kid. Like, I'm just, everyone, a lot of people like Sonic. I'm sure I just wasn't in the right headspace. And I got it again. I'm just like, it's not fun to go slow, and I have to play it 5 times before I can go fast. And anyway,
I think
I'm sure I'm not making any friends in the comment section right now.
Oh, you're fine. most level-headed Sonic fans know. To me, it's just like I feel like I've never had too much of a hard time. Like, I think it's especially if you're super familiar with like Sonic design and stuff. It's not too terribly hard to get that sense of speed, like your first run of something, but like the more you play it, the more you kind of like discover its layout and like learn how to most efficiently work through it. I think that's kind of the appeal. It's kind of like how your first time through like a good kart racer, you're not really going to, like, you'll have enough knowledge of like how a kart racer works to be able to move through a track But like in order to move it through the most efficiently, you're gonna learn the shortcuts. You're gonna learn like the little areas and terrains that you can kind of break. It's part of why I like Sonic Adventure so much. Like the first one, that is a physics playground, and it just lets you go wild on like how to maneuver around that environment almost however you want. And that sense of discovery is part of the appeal of just kind of like learning how to manipulate the terrain, and it's almost like parkour to a weird sort of degree.
Allow me to push back a little bit.
Sure.
And again, it's not a popular one, I imagine, especially with this crowd, with your crowd. But like Castlevania 1, I've mentioned before, I beat that game about 400 times. I was about a minute away from having a world record, which I never got. But I was happy to play it again and again because it was kind of fun from the start, and getting better was fun. But when I played Sonic, it was just like it didn't get the hooks in right from the start the way that Castlevania did, or Pikmin did, another game I played 100 times, or like a kart racer even, where it's just like you don't have to play, every race in Mario Kart 64 5 times before you start having fun. It's kind of fun right away, and it's fun to get better. And same thing with like Castlevania on NES, the first one. But I don't know, it just didn't click with me. I can't get it. It seems so bad.
No,
I hate it so much.
I get you.
I hate to say it, but I do. I hate it.
No, I get it, and I think a lot of that really is just going to be preference. Like, mileage may vary. Like for me, I like the first time I played Sonic Mania, I was already having a blast with just like going through it. So it's just kind of like it's going to work for some people and not others. It doesn't make you wrong.
I tried, like I said, several times. I want to like Sonic. That's the thing. I really want to like Sonic, but I can't. But anyway, did you play SteamWorld Dig 1 or 2? Speaking of early Switch games.
I'm familiar with them. I've not played them. Am I wrong in No, I'm thinking of something else. I was thinking that those were on the 3DS, but I think I'm thinking of
the first one was.
First one? Okay.
It also came to Switch and Steam and stuff, but it was on 3DS.
Okay, because I think I was confusing it with like Dylan's Rolling Western a little bit there. Because I was just thinking both like sand, dirt, Western kind of inspired games on the Nintendo platforms.
Sure.
Yeah, no, unfortunately I've not gotten a chance to play that, but I've always heard good things.
The second one especially is really, really good. I just mentioned that because those were, besides Breath of the Wild, of course, I think those were the first two. Sonic Mania and SteamWorld Dig 2 were my first Switch games. And Flame in the Flood, you ever play that?
Which one?
The Flame in the Flood.
Honestly, I'm not even sure I'm familiar with it.
It is, I'll give you the elevator pitch. It plays like it's an indie game. It plays like a PS1 or maybe PS2 remake of Oregon Trail, but set on a post-apocalyptic Mississippi River.
Oh, that's fun.
It's really good. The music is really, it has an original, like, they got like I'm not sure who he is, Chuck Reagan, I'm not really familiar, but they got some sort of like a country singer or something to make the soundtrack. So the music, the soundtrack has words, and it's kind of melancholy and about like, death and things like that. It's really beautiful, and the soundtrack is fantastic, and it's just a pretty simple gameplay loop. Like I said, it plays like Oregon Trail, but it's a game I go back to every year or so and see how far down the river I can get, because the river never ends. Well, there's like a campaign where the river is like 40 miles, but there's also endless mode that goes until you die. It's really good. But that was another early Switch game. That was like a kind of a charm, at least in my experience with early Switch, was like there was sort of Breath of the Wild and some indie games. And then, which got me to to give some of those indie games a try, and I really, really liked the ones that I played. Eventually, there was like enough Wii U ports and new Switch games and stuff. Enough, Mega Man stuff coming over and collections and a lot of stuff. But when there was only like a few games, and you weren't spoiled for choice, there's some really good stuff on there that I wouldn't have otherwise given a chance. I'm glad that I did.
I remember, I know one of the games I spent like a lot of time on. It was already on the Wii U and on the 3DS, but like, man, I played a lot of Shovel Knight on the Switch back in the day. I remember really enjoying that one. I think like the second ever Switch game I got was like Super Bomberman R, and I don't think I ever finished that one. Outside of really liking the music for the first area, I don't think it left much of an impression on me. I'm trying to think of what else I had around.
Never played much Bomberman. I played, just a little bit here and there, but I never like really dove in and gave it a chance.
Yeah. Bomberman's like one of those where like I've always wanted to try to get into it because I love the aesthetic of it, but it's a game that I really feel like it might be at its best when you're playing like the multiplayer stuff. Although I've got an N64 copy of Bomberman Hero, and I've been meaning to sit down with that one and just give that.
Is that the one that's kind of more like an adventure game or an RPG or something? Or am I thinking of something else?
Yeah. From what I can tell, it's more of like a little adventure platformer, which might be a little bit more my speed, especially for like the single player stuff. Otherwise, it's just like, again, I love the character design, I love the aesthetic of it. It's just that like it's one of those things where I'll play it for a little bit, but I'm not going to play it for like a prolonged period of time.
Did you ever play much Mega Man? Speaking of Bomberman, that brings to mind Mega Man.
Not much. That one has been a bit of a blank spot for me. I've played Mega Man 2, and I remember I played one of the Battle Network games a long time ago, and I think those might be the only two I've played.
I have sort of an obsessive personality. That's why I'm doing this whole Sim Tower thing currently. And
oh shoot, Legends. I've played Legends.
Oh sure, yeah. A year or two ago, I played because I just played a little bit as a kid. Not, didn't really play it. Kind of like Bomberman. Like I think I played it at a friend's house a few times, something. But anyway, I decided to give it a shot a year or two ago, and I ended up playing 32 Mega Man games back to back, and then replaying a bunch of them quite a few times.
Yeah.
And Mega Man's good. Like I would say, the original Sextology, because they really pumped them out. Like they were really not being super thoughtful. Like they made a 6 on the NES, which weirdly overlapped. Like some of them came out after the X games on Super Nintendo. It's kind of weird. Anyway, but I would say like the original 6 games, maybe not the first one as much, but 2 through 6 are probably like the best aged NES games in my opinion. Possibly, and the music is so good. It's like Castlevania tier, like S tier music on the NES. There are a lot of kind of subpar or downright bad Mega Man games because they were really just pumping them out. But there are a lot that are really good, especially the main line in the first half of the X series is also fantastic. But they really drive those games because I think there were something like 6 Battle Network games as well. Not to say that they're bad because I haven't played those.
Yeah.
I mostly just play the side scrollers, but they really, I think there's somewhere around, I don't want to give a number, but at least 50 Mega Man games, I think. Something like that. They really, and that was all just between like the mid 80s and 2010 or so. So yeah, they were making multiple games a year and mobile games for Japanese mobile phones. They really pumped them out, but it's good. If you ever feel like an NES game that you could beat in an afternoon, 2 through 6 are really good.
Yeah, I remember enjoying 2 quite a bit, and I think I remember hearing at one point is like 2 is a good entry point Because it's like, my understanding is it's actually a decent bit easier than like the first one. It's probably one of the easiest ones to like pick up and play if you're not super familiar with Mega Man already.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah. Which is probably why it's the most popular one, if we're being honest. But
It's not the most popular, but it is. It has amazing music. They all do, but that one in particular, and it is on the easier side for the series.
Yeah. X has always
But
been.
you know what?
Sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
X has always been a point of interest for me. Like, I've been meaning to play X. I mean, it's everywhere. Like, I could boot it up on my Switch today. I just haven't taken the time.
That's what I was about to say, was that, you know, since you like Metroid, X is basically they took the classic Mega Man gameplay and mixed in a little Metroid. And that's what it is. It's kind of a 70% Mega Man, 30% Metroid, and it's good. So I'll just give you the elevator pitch for the first one, which a lot of people think is the best. I'm partial to the fourth, and then everything after four kind of gets worse. But the first one, so it's 8, just like a standard Mega Man level. It's 8 levels. You can play in any order. You can wall jump now, like Samus. You couldn't in the old Mega Man games.
Oh, okay.
And each level is linear, but it has kind of some small side paths and hidden upgrades throughout. So think like missile upgrades, kind of like the equivalent of that, or even more permanent upgrades, like a beam cannon upgrade or something. More substantial, I should say. More substantial upgrades.
So
like, it's 8 linear levels with a little bit of exploration mixed in and a lot of like kind of hidden upgrades.
So and you
8
might.
levels.
I would assume you could develop like an ideal route by kind of knowing, oh, this upgrade is going to be in this level, so I'm going to want this before I go over here. Kind of like how the Robot Master abilities worked in 2.
Yeah, routing is so there's a channel called J Reviews who has videos about the best routes to play the X game. Not that you need to, but like the most efficient route if you never want to have to backtrack. Like you go to this level and you get these upgrades, and then you go to this other level. Another interesting thing about Mega Man X, just the first one, is that some of the levels, after you beat them, alter other levels. So for example, if you beat, I think, the ice level, and then you go to the lava level, now the lava has hardened and you can walk on it. It's, you know, I guess the ice fell onto it or whatever. If you beat another level on an airship, then you go to another underwater level and the airship is crashed into it, and that allows you like access like an underground cave. So the level order that you do affects kind of how the other levels are laid out, or they change depending on which ones you do first, basically. Not all of them, only some of them. In the later games in the series didn't do that at all. But it's an interesting hook, and again, it's just like Mega Man in that you could beat the whole game in probably 3 hours, and it's very replayable. So it's if you like 2D Metroid, especially the first, but really the whole first 4 Mega Man X games would be a good snack, because they're much shorter, even the Metroid games, which are also pretty short.
Yeah. Well, they can be. It depends. Your first time through a Metroid game is usually not going to be brisk.
Right, you know, maybe like a first time might take 10 hours or whatever, but with Mega Man X, your first time would probably be closer to, 4, probably not more than 5 hours.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm like, I think I could probably beat Mega Man X, really any of them, except maybe the 8th. In probably under 2 hours now, and I'm not a speedrunner. I'm just kind of, played them a few times, and then. But yeah, the routing is real fun. In fact, I wrote a couple routing videos that never became videos, just for fun, really, kind of, just because the routing is really fun. You kind of figure out and do the most efficiently, and it's good stuff. Mega Man X, really good, bite-sized Super Nintendo games. And PlayStation. But they really drove the series off a cliff. 5 was not that good. 6 is legendarily bad. Although I've actually come to like it. And then 7 is the one where they went 3D. Oh my god, it's so bad that it's good.
I remember seeing that one was like slow.
It's really bad. Like it's really like a so bad situation. 6 is just plain bad.
Gotcha.
It's so bad. And then 8, they actually started to recover, and 8's actually not that bad, except that all the levels are shit. But other than the levels themselves, it's a great game. And then they just stopped making them, except for like a some kind of horseshit gotcha mobile game or something they made a few years ago. But it's really, Capcom really did not treat that series with care. They always start real strong and then they just drive it off a cliff. Not always, but they have a tendency to just pump them out.
Yeah. That's the thing I always got from it. It's funny now you look at like how desperate Mega Man fans are for like new content. When in reality, for a pretty good stint there, they were pretty spoiled. There was a lot of Mega Man and a lot of variety of Mega Man coming out.
Yeah, there's so many games, and they just, what's the word I'm looking for? They just kind of used up a lot of their goodwill, maybe, by just making so many and having kind of the quality going up and down that people kind of lost interest, I think. And it's unfortunate, but, there's so many games. There's still a lot of great games to go back and play that it's like the people who are begging for more, and I understand. I mean, they are making a new one now, but there's just so much. It's like, I'd be perfectly happy because, they made 9 and 10 in, I think, like 2008 and 2010, and they went back to the 8-bit NES graphics, and I thought those were great.
I heard really good things about those.
They are really good. It's like you can't tell the difference hardly between them and the original, the real NES games. It just goes to show that, like, you can go back and play the old ones, and they're still plenty of fun.
Oh yeah, and that's like the funny thing with Mega Man 2 is like, I don't have a lot of experience with the character, yet at the same time, it's just like, it's kind of like with Bomberman, although I'd say, like, to a stronger degree, I just really like Mega Man, like, in concept. Like, it was cool seeing him at the Game Awards, like, I was just like, oh, shoot, a new Mega Man game, that's awesome. I still hold that I think, like, when they started doing, like, announcement trailers for, like, new guest characters in Smash Brothers, a lot of people will disagree with me on this. Outside of, like, that Sonic one, just for how big of a deal it was, I think my favorite one is the Mega Man trailer, because it just, like, it felt like it paid so much service to him, but it was just like, yeah, like, get him in there. He belongs in this roster with these characters. Like, I remember getting a big smile on my face when seeing Mega Man show up there for the first time. So it's like something I've been meaning to go in and pay more service to, because, like, I always like seeing the guy. I like having him around. I just haven't paid a lot of attention to him. Which, maybe I'm part of the problem. Maybe I'm part of the reason why, the series hasn't done particularly well as of late. But it's something I would like to rectify.
I'm not going to say, like, they're the greatest games ever. I do think the NES games have aged really, really well. And the early X games are really good, too. I wouldn't say it's, like, this, like, life-altering experience. Once you play Mega Man, like, you never go back.
Yeah.
It's good, and there's a lot of it. But it's I don't want to oversell it, is what I'm saying.
Oh, sure.
I really enjoy it. We'll replay those games over and over, but they're simple, fun, good games, but they're not revolutionary, and they don't need to be. They don't try to be, and that's fine.
Yeah. It's not every game that comes out has to reinvent the format. It doesn't have to be the greatest thing you ever played. Sometimes, what was that? Somebody said once, it was like, don't let perfection be the enemy of good. It's like, it's okay for something. Yeah. Yeah,
that's the expression. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that, because I'm just like, Especially just like with the way that the industry has climbed and the way that like I don't know, just like so much of the stuff we take in now is just like we're constantly like obsessed with finding the thing that ups the thing that came before it, and it doesn't work like that. Like there's a ceiling, and we gotta be able to learn how to be happy with like something that's just great, instead of like trying to constantly attain like the next like an amazing thing. It's not an excuse not to try. Put your best effort into creating something unique and memorable, but it doesn't all have to like shake the industry.
When they revealed Mega Man 12, or it's not called that, whatever the new one is called, I forget, Double Gear or whatever. When they revealed that, they should have just had on their projector screen just like real big flying out a fancy graphic that just said 7.5 out of 10. Because that's what the new Mega Man is gonna be, just like Mega Man 11. It's like, it's good.
Yeah, that's what I would predict.
Not great. It's not great. It's pretty good. Don't get your hopes up, guys. It's not the best. It's not gonna be as good as some of the old games. It's not going to be an 8, but you know what? We're making it, and it'll be decent, maybe a little better than decent, but don't get your hopes up, fellas. I know we didn't, because I didn't watch the Game Awards, but I saw that it was revealed there. Didn't they have like a live orchestra, like very dramatically, like playing something unknown, but then it sort of reveals itself to be like a Mega Man theme, and then it's like, guess what?
Yeah,
we're making Mega.
It was like you started hearing like the Dr. Wily's Castle, like Wily's Castle theme from like Mega Man 2 started like coming into focus, and you were like, oh shit, like that's what this is. And I think that's
so funny that
oh, go ahead.
Because they really have not treated Mega Man well for about 15 years.
Yeah.
And it's really not, as much as he is iconic and all that, it's just like, this is such a weird reveal for Mega Man with the live orchestra and all that. Like, you're overselling it, guys.
Maybe,
Mega
but
Man's not Zelda.
It doesn't, but at the same time, it's just like, so for myself included, as somebody that's not been like an avid consumer of Mega Man, I still recognize him and recognize him fondly. To me, like that level of bombast felt earned. Like even as a semi-outsider, I'm just like, yeah, no, it's Mega Man. He deserves that kind of an entrance. I think that should have been the last trailer of the night, not the newest like whatever hero shooter thing that the Titanfall guys are working on, when everybody's really just been asking for Titanfall 3, which isn't that game supposed to come out? Like, isn't it? Is it like already out? I have not heard a single word about it since that reveal.
Dude, I just heard everyone was saying that it was the worst One More Thing in the history of the Game Awards. I didn't even watch it. All I watched was like, I think on my phone I watched the Mega Man thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard it was bad. I have no idea anything about that other game. Mega Man is iconic. He is like one of the OGs, you could say.
Yeah.
He is awesome with a storied past, but he's not Zelda. He's not.
Yeah.
Like, as much as I like Mega, it just feels, especially with live orchestra, because it just doesn't really fit. It's not a live orchestra kind of game. It's like if this is a weird thing. It's like some games are deserving of Roman numerals
mm-hmm.
in their sequel titles. If they put out Zelda 2, they do Roman numerals. It would be weird if they put out Mario 2 with Roman numerals.
Sure.
And that's what I feel like the live orchestra thing for Mega Man was. It's like, Mega Man's cool and all that, like, but a live orchestra is just a weird fit for Mega Man.
I guess I can see that. I don't know. I didn't feel particularly bothered by it, especially since like the orchestra already had to get set up out there for like the final award of the night anyway. So it's just like, hey, if we already got him out here, especially if it's gonna be.
Is that how it worked? I didn't watch the whole show. I didn't. They already had an orchestra there, like already. I just figured like Capcom brought those guys specifically.
No.
They were already there for something else.
Yeah, every time that they do like the final award of like, you know, Game of the Year, they have like an orchestrated medley where they play a little bit of music from all of the Game of the Year nominees. So like each one of them gets a little excerpt. It was cute. They brought out the singer for Pauline, and she sang to like the song from Donkey Kong Bonanza. So they got her out there as the only like vocal part of that medley. So it was close to the end of the night. So they were already getting the orchestra like set up there. So I feel like it was also like a matter of convenience that they were just like, hey, we got the orchestra here already. Let's just make it a part of this. We did it for easier to excuse than when we started the Game Awards with like God of War 4, you know what I mean? Although that one does feel a little bit more fitting of an orchestra, but I'm also just like to the Mega Man fans that like constantly bicker about like there not being any Mega Man, I'm sure they got a kick out of that much service being paid to the character, especially when just under the current circumstances of that particular reveal, it was a lower effort to just bring the guys out there to do that piece for the trailer.
I'm probably way off. There's other people who've been Mega Man fans for 30 years, and here I am like, I played them a bunch 2 years ago for the first time, and I'm here to tell you that that's not what Mega Man... I'm sure there's people right now in the comments like, this dude is such an... First, he's talking shit about Nintendo, doesn't know what he's talking about, and then Sonic, and now he's this tourist making an ass of himself about a live orchestra for Mega Man. He deserves it. He deserves it, goddammit.
Call me crazy. I don't think you have to have like some sort of prerequisite to have an opinion.
Well, because I just know I did see Mega Man fans who have been fans forever who loved the orchestra thing, and so maybe it's just some weird thing where I'm thinking that he shouldn't have Roman numerals, although he actually, some of his games did have Roman numerals, but they shouldn't have had Roman numerals. That's what I'm getting at. Mega Man is a 2 kind of guy, not a Roman numeral II kind of guy. It's just, anyway. What do you think of Jeff Keighley?
He does his job well. I mean, he's exactly what you would expect out of somebody that's presenting an event of that size, and I think he does well enough. I think that a lot of it is outside of his control, and he's just kind of presenting what's available to him. I kind of wish he had a little bit more of a spine when it came to certain topics and everything. I wish certain things were handled a little bit better. I think it's absurd that Sonic 3 was not nominated for Best Adaptation, because that movie was really, really good, and it came out the prior year, but after the last Game Awards, so it should have been eligible for like that award, and I think it should have won it. I think he deals with kind of like the natural consequences of an event like that. The Game Awards are, I feel like, a whole topic of a discussion that could like take up its own podcast, but it's just like, it's essentially like it's a sales chart with trailers, and it's basically just like, here's how much discussion has been around like this particular thing. Like, we're just gonna blitz past all of these awards and just do them in like a cannon fire of just like, oh, this person wins this award, this person wins this award, this person wins this award, yada yada yada. Here's another award for Expedition 33. You know what I mean? Doesn't make for good TV, but and then the rest of it is just like game reveals and trailers, and I could probably list off of like one hand the amount of them I actually like remember thoroughly. I don't know. Jeff Keighley's fine. He has his hits and misses, but I just kind of see him as a talking piece, and that kind of comes with all the benefits and drawbacks you would expect.
You know what I wonder, and I don't watch Game of the Year awards, so or the Game Awards, so I'm talking out of my ass again. But I do wonder, because I've heard people complaining that he breezes through, the quote unquote lesser awards.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me want, like we were talking about with YouTube earlier, how like sometimes the stuff that you think is more important doesn't get, people don't care as much. I wonder if like numbers have shown that the viewers don't care about those, like the average viewer.
I wouldn't
like viewership drops off when they give a 2-minute speech time to, best family game award winner or whatever it is, and then because he knows it's like a lot of people are just watching for the trailers, and that's where the money is made as well. I'm sure there's an element of that, but I do wonder if it would be true that like if he did give more time and gravitas to every award and all that, like views would go down and people would not actually prefer that. I wonder, it's one of these things where it's like society and viewers and all that don't necessarily reward, good behavior in quotes. I wonder if there's an element of that. And again, I'm talking to my ass because I don't watch his show. I do have a positive impression of Jeff Keighley.
I think there's something to that, and that's why I say that I think he's kind of working with like the cards that he's got, and it's just like the nature of the industry. I do think when it comes to evening out kind of like trailers versus like actual award content, less trailers, especially if you're doing it within a certain time frame, just better quality control for the trailers that actually get shown. Have fewer but better trailers, because again, like so much of it is just this homogenous mess of like grays and blue tones for like shooters and stuff that all look the goddamn same. Like better quality control, be a bit pickier about that sort of thing. And hey, a lot of it's money. Let's not pretend that our lives are not controlled by capitalism. They are. And I don't know. It's one of those things where it's just like I try not to talk too deeply on it, because like I can complain about it, but I don't have a solution. So
it's my understanding that he gets paid, or the show gets paid for playing trailers, but if it's like a notable trailer, like if it's a get, like the new Resident Evil game or Mega Man or whatever, like he doesn't pay for that. Like he chases after those, and so it's like the trailers that we actually want to see makes him no money, and the awards themselves, for that matter, don't make any money and probably wouldn't get much viewership. And so like the shitty trailers, that's where the money's actually made. So it's like, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate a lot.
Sure.
I think his writing is really good. Before he got into the Game Awards and all that, I thought he was really good as a writer.
See, I'm not familiar with his writing work.
It's really good. He had this series called like The Final Hours, where he would just write just like pages and pages and pages, and also there's like some video content as well. It's just like really good inside scoops on big games like Half-Life and I want to say Portal was another one, because he's in good with Valve.
Yeah.
And let's say he got in good with Naughty Dog as well.
I wouldn't be surprised.
He's got quite a few. I haven't read all of them, but what I have read was really like, it's the kind of stuff like if you were doing a video about a game that he had done a Final Hours about, like you would have to read all of it, and you would be underlining so much and highlighting so much to use for your own video, if the video touched on anything like development or the people who made it, as opposed to just the game itself. Really good stuff. And so I'm sort of inclined to like give Keighley the benefit of the doubt, because I think what I've read of his, I've not read all of it, but what I read of his was really good. Maybe some of the best I've ever read in this space. That he seems like a really smart, well-meaning guy who has a passion for games and all that.
Yeah, I don't mean to villainize the dude.
I don't think you are. I'm just saying I seem to catch a lot of shit for playing slop trailers. So I'm sort of naturally inclined to think like, well, maybe there's like a perfectly good reason why he's showing all his slot trailers, and he probably knows his slot trailers, and like as he put it, like he's got the cards that he's been dealt, and he can't just show nothing but banger trailers for massive franchises and then give 5 minutes to every award winner. And I mean, he could do some of that, but he was not dealt four aces. He was dealt one ace and a jack and then a 7 and a 2 and then whatever. What
Yeah.
this analogy is where you get what I'm saying. I'm agreeing with you with your analogy.
Yeah. It's like I think that that's a fair way to look at it too, because it's just like a part of my complaint is also just kind of like a complaint with the playing field and just kind of like the nature of how these things have to go down, because at the end of the day, these award shows are not paying for themselves, and the amount of people that are going to be tuning in. I guess it's why I'm like I wonder a little bit about like how those larger trailers are procured, if only because it's just like I'm sure Capcom requires a little something out of it, but like goddamn if that's not like a really great like selling point for them. Like they know that they're pulling in a lot of views for marketing from being present at the Game Awards, so they get a lot out of it too. But then again, that's also just me speaking as an outsider, not knowing the ins and outs and all of the business that goes behind those decisions.
I've seen there's this. You ever heard of a guy named Kyle Bozeman, or is it Bossman?
Not sure sounds familiar.
He doesn't say his own last name very often, so I'm not sure if it's Bozeman or Bossman. But we don't need to go into the whole lore behind this guy, but he is very funny. He has a weekly show called Delayed Input, which is a clever name for a weekly news show.
Yeah.
And he is hired to write for the Game Awards. He's a very funny guy. So I don't watch the Game Awards, but he will occasionally clip moments. And one, I don't think this was even the point he was making, but it struck me as... So it was when I think Resident Evil Requiem got revealed at the Game Awards or something like that. And at the end of the show, which was kind of otherwise like a rather forgettable show for most people, someone yelled at the end when everyone's clapping and he's saying his goodbye, someone yells up like, "Thank you, Jeff." And he says, kind of reflexively and very gratefully, he says, "Thank you, Capcom."
Yeah.
Like, don't thank me, thank Capcom. He's saying this about the whole show. Like, it very seemed to me that, and this was not Kyle Bozeman's point, but that's where I saw the clip, was like, he knows that the show is not all gold, and he knows that the show was carried by Capcom, and he knows that the cards aren't that great. It's his job to stand there in a nice suit or whatever and act like it's all good, because that's his job. And you know this. I'm just kind of talking.
Oh, sure.
So I don't know. And again, if his articles back in the day, from what I've read, weren't so good, I would not be inclined to give him the benefit of the doubt. But he seems like a good guy who knows when he's giving us slop, and I'm sure he's got a good... I want to believe he has a good reason.
Oh, and
I like Jeff Keighley.
Yeah, and a lot of it too, especially if we're talking about like the slop trailers and especially like stuff like that. And I mean, hey, a lot of those games pull in revenue. At the end of the day, like a lot of my frustration is always going to be, if I've learned anything by working in retail, is that the customer is always wrong, and the larger consumer base cannot be trusted to dictate like what's good or bad a lot of the time, because a lot of garbage does really well. Yeah, so it's like I've never held like a firm belief in just like, I blame the consumers a lot of the time for really good stuff just not doing well, and for just absolute crap just like breaking records. So it's, you gotta look at that aspect of it too.
Well, what are you hoping for? I guess it's been about 3 hours. I guess before we wrap up, because I'm getting, I don't know if you can tell, like my brain is starting to sizzle and pop because I'm old and it's late.
Yeah, I've got a lot of Snatcher editing to do later tonight, or today.
Let's try to bring it, before we close up, a little bit to where we started so long ago and then got off on about 30 tangents in a row. What are you hoping for, I guess, the next year, really the rest of the Switch 2 generation? What do you, I mean, obviously everyone wants a big Zelda, big Mario, but, what are you hoping for?
Well, I think a lot of it is going to be just, a lot of it is going to be, hey, we've got new management over at Nintendo right now. Doug Bowser has stepped down. I guess he's joining the board at, like, Hasbro or something. I forget the name of the lady taking over, but hey, here's hoping she has some good ideas and she knows how to kind of lead things in the right direction for Nintendo of America, at least.
Devin Richard, I think was her name.
I'm hoping that the stock prices and stuff going down at Nintendo turns into a good thing. I think Nintendo is at their best when they're hungry, and their plate's been a little too full for a little too long. So I would like to kind of see them get knocked down a peg, and it seems that, like, success of the Switch 2 be damned, like, that may be happening, and I would like to see that. In terms of, like, game releases, like, yeah, sure, I would like to see a new Zelda. I would like to maybe hear about the next 2D Metroid. Would really like to see, like, a new F-Zero game, I think would be cool. But people have been begging for that for a while. I think more than anything, I would like to see a new, I would like to see some of the things that they've been talking about for a while get actually put into practice. Scale down games just a little bit. Make them more affordable, make the development process a bit more efficient, stop trying to chase for these longer, giant experiences. Hey, give me a $50 game that lasts like 10 to 15 hours, and I'll be happy. They don't all have to go on for forever. Because I know they...
Sorry to cut in.
Yeah.
Sorry. I remember them saying that they wanted to, like, kind of like speed up development or do basically like AA type stuff. I don't remember anything in that quote about lowering the price.
I don't remember if it was specifically.
It sounded to me like they wanted to lower the budgets but keep the price. That's how I read it.
I don't quite remember. I feel like I remember them saying something about affordability. I could be misinterpreting what I saw. I mean, regardless, it is what I would like to see. If their excuse for the nonsense with, like, Mario Kart World being $80 goddamn, even though I do not for an instant think it needs to be that price, is this variable pricing where they're just like, oh, the amount of this and this went in is, like, why we price it this way, then that needs to go both ways. Like, if you're gonna demand that much money for something just because, oh, like, this much went into it, then if you're streamlining the development process, then those price tags had better go down. I would also like to see a better effort on... I believe we saw some information, whether it was supposed to get out there or not, about Nintendo developing or working with, I don't quite remember which company it is, to try to develop a more varied selection of, like, sizes for game cartridges, so that not everything has to keep coming out as a freaking game key card, and it doesn't cost as much for publishers to release them on a full cartridge. Then I would like to see that too, because I think game key cards as a concept I just don't like. Again, there are a couple of exceptions. I think the Final Fantasy VII Remake and Star Wars Outlaws have good excuses, but outside of that, there's a lot of games where I'm just like, Bamco, I'm affiliated with them, I love them. Why the hell was Pac-Man World 2 repack on a game key card? Like, come on. Like, come on now. You know, stuff like that. Those are the improvements I would like to see.
You know, because I remember you referenced what Doug Bowser said, or maybe you didn't mean Doug Bowser, but I remember him justifying Mario Kart's $80 price tag because it seems like such a. So here's the quote. I pulled it up. So he didn't say anything about like it's $80 because we put so much work into it. He said, "We believe based on the depth and breadth of the play and repeatability of the play over time, that the pricing we've announced is the right pricing," which is, I'm not even sure what to make of that. Because he's talking about because it's got multiplayer online, the depth and breadth and repeatability over time.
I think it would have been more defensible if he had said it the way I did. That sounds absurd.
I agree. I agree because I remember hearing this quote and like hitting the rewind 10 seconds button.
Why was
being like, wait, what was breadth and depth? What?
Well, then why wasn't Tears of the Kingdom $80? I spent like 120 hours on that game. Or Xenoblade Chronicles X. I spent more on that. I spent like 160.
But I would agree that it does need to go both ways, because I would be less bothered, the hater that I am, I would be less bothered by something like an $80 game if we were getting stuff like DK Returns remastered for, $40 or whatever. Some people, I'm not a hardliner. It should be no more than 20. But like, I mean, come on. Like Princess Peach Showtime for 60. Link's Awakening, and I love Link's Awakening, the original. Well, actually, I never played I played DX on Game Boy Color. I didn't play the black and white version.
I love DX.
But
it's still my favorite version.
But and I also very much enjoyed the remake. But $60 for like a square for square remake.
Why is that
Game Boy Color game?
Yeah, and at the very least, why is that not a $20 game now?
Yeah, I remember. It was after all the controversy. It was sometime in the past 6 months or so, Nintendo put some games on sale, and you had there's like a handful of Twitter shills. Maybe you've seen them if you spend time on Twitter. The same like 4 people always pop up, and one of them was like, "Where are all the people always saying that Nintendo never puts their games on sale? Where are they now?" And like, I looked at the list. It was 6 games. Mm-hmm. That were just either kind of like B or C tier or old as balls. Like, yeah, Mario Odyssey was in there. That's an A tier game, but it's also 8 years old. And another game, and there was like the Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. Another game should not have been 60. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
3DS remaster that was 40 originally, and then there was 20 on Nintendo Select, so now it's 60. Anyway. So it was like Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, Link's Awakening, and like they were down to $42. It's like now it's like 6 years old, and this is a sticking point for me more than like Mario Kart's 80. It's like, well, it's just more to do with everything is at least 60, even the stuff that's old as balls, square for square remakes of Game Boy Color games from 30 odd years ago. So yeah, but this quote, "We believe based on the depth and breadth of the play and repeatability of the play over time." And also that other quote, which I can't find it because I can't remember specific lines. This one I remember breadth and depth. I could find it quick. The thing about we're thinking about streamlining and like lowering budgets. I don't remember there being any implication there that meant where they were going to charge any less, because I really think unless they're absolutely forced to by declining sales or whatever, they're not gonna, like, 60 is gone, except for I guess maybe what the Tamagotchi Life or whatever on Switch 1, but anything on Switch 2, if Mario's Tennis is 70, I'm not expecting anything north of Drag X Drive to be anything less than 70.
I forgot about that game. Oh my god. Yeah, that's like, and I don't think we've seen, I honestly don't think we've seen very many games that actually were $80, like new games. I think the
It's
only
all
other
been-
ones outside of like Mario Kart World have been the re-releases that have like expansion packs in them that they're selling for the equivalent of that extra $10 anyway. Now whether or not
Yeah, it's all been Switch 2 editions. Yeah.
yeah.
And
Now whether or not they need to be priced up like that, I also don't think so. I think especially if you're just from a marketing standpoint, like you were a salesman, would it not make more sense to be like, hey, we've got this game at a discount now, but if you buy it for $40, $50 now, it's like it's that game that we're just repackaging, but you also have it's at a discount, but you're also getting. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's cheaper, but there's an incentive to buy this instead of just being like, hey, it's $80 for this game that came out like nearly half a decade ago, and now you got to pay more for it than it was at base price for a DLC pack.
they're trying to play some sleight of hand, in my opinion. There's different ways of looking at it. The four Twitter shills will say, and I'm sure genuine people who are not shills could see it this way as well. I don't mean to be an asshole. But, one way of looking at it, the way I think that they want you to look at it at, Nintendo, is that like, well, it's $60 for a Switch 1 game and $20 DLC. So it's not an $80 game, really. It's just, lots of games have $20 DLC. I don't really see, because there's lots of remasters and re-releases that come in that have new content in them. People heavily meme the Last of Us games for getting constantly re-released. Last of Us 2, I think, came out in 2019 on PS4. When it got remastered for, the Last of Us 2 remaster on PS5, it was $50, and it had free DLC. They did not do, it was not $80 on the shelf. And I understand that line of argument that lots of games are $60 with $20 DLC and they're just bundling it in. It's a bit different for the reason I just laid out, for one, which is that lots of games are re-released with additional content and they're not $80. And also, the DLC is not optional. If you want, Kirby and the Forgotten World, or Forgotten Land, or Mario Party Jamboree on Switch 2, you've got two choices. You can get the Switch 1 edition with its, last-gen graphics and all that for $60, or you can pay $80 for the Switch 2 version. You don't get the Switch 2 version for $60 and then have the option of opting in for the DLC. It's mandatory if you want the Switch 2 version of the game. If you want to play in 720p or whatever, you can get it for $60, but it's just like, come on. Like, this is Nintendo's trying to play some sleight of hand here, in my opinion, to justify, and I think it's sort of a bit of a Trojan horse. I don't know if that's maybe that's not the best analogy, but they're trying to normalize $80, I believe, with this little trick here. Of course, they want the $80 for its own right, but also it has the benefit of normalizing the number 80, so that when whatever game comes out and it's 80, it's not such a shock, because we've seen so many $80 games already.
Yeah.
It's funny business, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I'm wondering how well it's actually doing for them too. I'm not entirely sure, but it's it's going to be interesting. We've already seen a lot of weird developments just over the past year. I think as we get closer to like a full year of the console being out, and especially with just like the business side of things and how they're going to need to respond to just the reactions to everything. I'm curious to see what the next Nintendo Direct is going to look like. I'll put it that way. That being said, yeah. That being said, brother, we've been on for close to 3.5 hours. And it's just like, especially when we're getting into like Nintendo and all of their business practices and everything, it could probably take up a whole nother rest of the day in and of itself, but might be time to go ahead and start wrapping things up for today.
Okay, yeah, my brain's fried because I woke up early with the kids, and now I don't know if you can tell, even more than usual, I'm like getting incoherent the past hour or so, but
it's all good. It's a lot later for you than it is for me. Oh
yeah, it's about 2 here in the morning. So, thanks for having me on. Always a pleasure talking to you. Yeah, I hope to see you again on the battlefield.
Oh yeah,
the haters versus the Skrulls.
I'm sure we'll be doing this again at some point in the future, and of course, just to sort of like replug it, I suppose. You've got the Sim Tower video coming up. I'm definitely going to be watching it when it comes out, and I would
probably
implore.
Like a year away.
I'm sorry.
I think it's probably like a year away. Not worth plugging. I do have a cat because you mentioned Cat Icarus earlier. If we're going to plug something,
sure.
Cat Icarus is the narrator for a video that goes up on Did You Know Gaming in a few days that I wrote.
Oh, nice. Yeah, well, I mean, be keeping an eye out for that. Of course, the version of this that goes up for Patreon comes out a week early, earlier than it does on the YouTube channel, so that may already be out by the time you're listening to this, so I highly recommend giving that a look over at Did You Know Gaming, or was that on your personal channel?
Sorry, my brain is so fried. I missed what you had just said. I don't need to. You don't need to plug anything. Sorry, really, I'm crashing.
It's.
I appreciate you having. I love you. I look forward to hearing your opinions on Augur Zenith, and I especially look forward to your Saturn Resident Evil and Skies of Arcadia reviews.
Oh yeah, and those will come out in due time. But I suppose as for today, this has been Ram of the Rocks. Thank you all so much for listening, and we will see you next mission.